Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Good Saturday morning. We're on a little bit before 10 a.m. Eastern because we got a lot of business to take care of. It's playoff basketball talk with all of you out there here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk with the coach, Ed Young. I am Matthew Hatfield. We are extremely excited to be with you on this first day of March. February's in the books. We've turned the calendar over and the madness is here. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Morning, good morning. Feel good today, Saturday. First day of the rest of my life.
Of the rest of your life.
Yeah, it may not be long, but it's the first day. See, Woody's in the house.
He's in the house. Jack Lowe's in the house. I have not slept in 3 weeks. That's pretty accurate. Pretty accurate. Didn't get much sleep last night. As you can see, my eyes are it got bad under my eyes. But I don't look as bad. Listen, I don't look as bad now as I did. If you saw on our cover that we just came back from, I look terrible in this cover, don't I? I got my mouth wide open. I sound like
there looks like you haven't slept in 3 days.
I was really sleep deprived. That was bad. But we'll be back there doing that again, and I'll be sleep deprived. But I got to go to Pensacola before I come to Richmond with you. So I got a busy couple of weeks. I better get some sleep between now and then, or I could just pass out in the middle of the road, and that would be bad. It'd be really bad. So. You shall see.
Get your rest, man. Got to get your rest.
We have all kinds of brackets for you. We have the high school boys basketball brackets for the VHSL state tournament and the regionals to this point, because there's still some seeds being determined for who's going to be the region champs and runner-ups today. We have a bunch of region championships in action, which you'll see on our screen. Same for the girls. VISAA private school championships for the boys and the girls. And we have a jam-packed guest lineup. I don't know if we've ever had 4 live guests in one show, 2+ hour show, under 3 hours. But we're going to attempt it today with some playback clips, which means a little bit less babbling of us, although we have some babbling to do. We're going to hear from, we're scheduled to be joined by Tim Sparks of Peninsula Catholic at 10:15 a.m. Eastern. He's our first guest, just texted me now. He is still good to go at that time. Clyde Spellman, Indian River Braves boys, they're going for a region championship today against Green Run over at Kellam High School. You got Robbie Cutchins of the Franklin Broncos coming on at 11:05 a.m. Eastern. His team won a region championship last night in Region 1B, and so too did Raleigh Axselle of the Atlee Raiders. Region champs over Varina in 4B, and they'll be taking on either Churchland or Hampton in the state quarters. They're in action tonight, Churchland and Hampton boys at Manor. Manor girls coach Roger Smith. Good to see we didn't jinx him from last week. He's in action tonight against Shonda Bailey's Lady Crabbers, who were the runner-ups in Class 4 last year on the girls' side. Double dip over there in Portsmouth. You got big game today in Chesapeake, Oscar Smith Lansdowne. A couple of big games in Norfolk at Booker T. Washington. Ed with the Region 5B girls title that features Menchville against Kings Fork, followed by the boys matchup, which has Woodside versus Maury for a third consecutive year. Darren Sanderland's Commodores against Stefan Welsh's Wolverines. I mentioned Green Run and Indian River over at Kellam. Before that, it's the Kellam girls hosting Princess Anne for a region championship. Kellam girls, uncharted territory for them. PA, it's always on their schedule. A lot of things going on. Lots and lots and lots and lots of action. And I'm juiced up. I'm fired up. How about you?
It's basketball. It's March. The madness will begin. Well, the high school madness is beginning as we march to the states next week. Regional action, which we've gone out and seen some of the regional action. I partook of the Region 5 semis.
I was going to ask, did you go to any games last night? I've been forced to watch a lot on FHS Network.
I was actually
forced to, by the way.
I was actually planning on going to see the private school games at Benedictine in Richmond. And my schedule got messed up.
Oh,
I was not able to.
That means Ed had another engagement that popped up, ladies and gentlemen.
No. That I have a friend that is coming into town unexpectedly, and I had to do some things to have the house ready, so to speak.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I'm not that far off. Listen, I know you better than most. I think I know you better than yourself sometimes.
Hold on, we have a question up there. No, we have a statement.
A statement. Keith is the one that provides questions. Where is Keith, by the way? We want to hear from Keith. We got somebody laughing, by the way. I noticed in our little upper corner. Oh, I know it is. I think it's your good buddy, former assistant coach, Buck Moore, by the way. We love Buck out there.
Buck is. I owe Buck a call. I think he called me the other night.
You owe Buck more than just a call. You owe him money. You owe him food. You owe him all kinds of things.
I owe Buck a lot, man. It's my right-hand guy, man. I owe him a lot. The statement came up. People stop complaining about regional site. Happens every year. Region 5 seems to be the number one complaining site. And
you were just talking about before we went on the air. Like, I mean, everybody, listen, and you're going to jump in on this. I get the grief about it. I do get it, but I'm like you, and a little bit like Ahmad. Let's just play the games. Enough of that. Let's go.
Well,
there you go, Coach. Don't tell all your secrets. There you go. I like that, Buck. Go ahead.
There you go. I don't really have that many secrets. I hope I don't have that many secrets. I'm at what they call the open book. What you see is what you get.
Well, you need to eat some crow because you get a lot of predictions wrong. And now I had a bad night of picks on Friday. And our man Johnny D says, can you walk back that Kellum will crush? See, you got the Patriots all fired up. And they almost knocked off Indian River the other night, too, by the way.
Did I say Kellum will crush?
You as bulletin board material. Yeah, you did. We got it on tape. You said
I said the word crush.
I had FC by 6, by the way, ladies and gents. I picked the upset.
Yeah, sure. You don't even know what FC stands for, let alone picking.
First Colonial.
Okay, because your boy had to tell you that.
By the way, I heard our man James Timmons, longtime FC alum and diehard fan. I heard he went streaking outside the building. Was that true? Someone please tell me that didn't happen.
No, I don't even want to.
I hope Jimmy didn't do that. I hope he didn't.
Things come in my head. That's one thing I cannot afford in my head.
Okay, but go ahead.
But real quick here, the regional situation, and I tried to explain this to somebody the other day, and I think I confused them more. The regions. Directors, there's a basketball director in each region. It's not the same person. They set up the regions for that region. The state does not do it. The VHSL does not do it. The VHSL basically says to the regions, get us 2 teams. I don't care how you do it, get us 2 teams. Mm-hmm. Now, there is discrepancies. Yes. We've said this many times. Some regions take 12 teams, which is why one region had an 0-19 girls team in it. Some regions take 8. Some regions, I think, take 6.
That was York, by the way. The 0-19 girls team? It was York, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. But go ahead.
Yeah. I'm not going to mention teams.
Well, so 3. Go ahead.
And maybe a lot of that depends on the number of teams in the region, okay? If you have 12 teams in your region, you don't need 12 teams in the playoffs. I'll go with 8. What you want to try to get away from is 0-19 in the playoffs. I get that, okay? But if it's not hurting the region, then why not put them in if it's not hurting the region, if it's not delaying by playing an extra game? Now, the big question, though, I think a lot of times is the sites. Most sites, the higher seeds host, especially first round. Some of them, even in the second round, will go higher seed will host. Some people in the semifinals put it at a neutral court, and some play at the number 1 seed or the highest seed left.
And some do the championship at a neutral court as well. But
same thing.
Yep.
Now, so there's where your all discrepancies are. And right now, the biggest one is Region 5, because Woodside is number 1. They played their opening game against Nansemond River.
No, they played their opening game against Bethel in the quarterfinals. Nansemond played Nansemond as the 5, played Norview the 4 at Woodside, unlike your game last year when you were the 5 at 4 seeded Norview. And the 1 and 2 and 3 seeds in boys and girls in 5B got to host. The 4 didn't, but the 4 seed happened to be the host site for the semis. Had Norview beaten Nansemond, they would have been hosting them in the region semis. Continue on. Go ahead.
And then so Woodside is plays they played Nansemond as you said at Norview.
Yep.
And then the championship game, Woodside Maury, was originally scheduled for Norview. And then it was Maury And
There
now
was
we
a
heard
conflict in
lately.
Northview's gym, from what I was told, by the way. That's why it got moved from Northview to Moore. There was a conflict. I'm not sure what was going on or supposed to go on today at Northview, but that's why. And then there was a lot of social media firestorm that caused another change. Go ahead.
So this is what we get. Now, I put in my own 10 cents. I have no problem with number ones hosting first round. If you have a quarterfinal, I don't have a problem with the higher seeds. First round, quarter round, semifinals. I go back and forth. I could say we go to the number one seeds court, or I can see neutral. Championship game, neutral floor.
Well, let me stop you there. But here's my biggest question. Why isn't 5B and 5A for that matter? Because had Kellum not been knocked off by FC, they would have been hosting Green Run today in a 2-1 game, which, by the way, Kellum's a nice big gym. I don't think you'd hear as much chirping from the Virginia Beach Green Run fans as we're hearing from the Woodside fans in Newport News. And by the way, they have a right to chirp, but they go there and they shut their mouth. They go play the games. But there's a lot of chirping going on, all right? But why is 5A and 5B, Ed? Why are they so different than the rest of the whole state? That's my big question. Not to say they're right, wrong, or different. Why are they so different? Because the rest of the state doesn't seem to have this much of a limelight. Now, Class 5 is the toughest in the state. I'll give you that. It's really good basketball. But it seems to be like the last few years, this has been head-scratching because this has been going on for Woodside for a few years. They were a 3 seed a few years ago, having to play a quarterfinal of the regions in a 6 seed Northview's gym. This has been going on for a few years now. This isn't a first-time thing.
Right. Woodside has every right to be upset. Woodside should have hosted maybe the whole tournament. They're number one seed.
Maybe.
Okay. And I think their gym is big enough. There's ample parking, I think. So that's my opinion on that. The Woodside should be upset. And then to be moving around like that all over the place, no, it should not happen.
But I got a bigger issue. Why aren't we playing these games, all these games today, in one facility? We could be playing this. Now, I heard Scope costs a certain amount of money. At Norfolk State, Hampton, I heard it. By the way, I heard Hampton was offered. I haven't confirmed this. I heard Hampton was offered University to host Region 5B, and it was declined or turned down. I haven't confirmed that from any tournament officials, but I heard that. The old days of Churchland, you remember think about this today. If people wanted to see Indian River, Oscar Smith, they got their rivalry fan base. Lansdowne, Green Run. If you had that as a doubleheader with girls' games before it or girls' games after, whatever it is, that would be great to see. Now, you have 2 games tonight at Manor with the Hampton boys and girls playing. Boys take on Churchland for the region championship at 7:30 after the girls play Manor at 6. But we should be having 4 to 6 games in one facility. That would be great for the fans. Problem there to me is you can't get all these regions to agree on things, and how's the money going to be distributed and split amongst each regions? I mean, let's do what's best for the athletes in the games. And that's me on that. We should have 4 or 5 games in one place today.
Well, and the powers to be, if they would come on, would probably tell us, guys, you don't understand. There's a lot more to it than just putting the games there. The cross-region thing is a problem because I've been asked that all week. Why don't we have at least the championship games of everywhere go to Churchland? Well, Churchland's a Region 4 team. They're not going to be hosting any 6, 5, 3s, whatever. They're going to do 4s. That I kind of almost get that part.
Hold on, let me ask you this. Well, you say that. North Side is a Class 3 gymnasium, right? Defending 2-time state champs, Billy Pope, Hall of Fame coach, doing a great job going for a 3-peat. So if that's the case, how come they're hosting today the Region 1C, I think it is, championship? How come? That's a Class 3 school hosting a Region 1C championship between the Perry McClure Fighting Blues and the George Wythe Maroons. So I will dismiss that point right there. Right there.
Well, again, but you're going into another region. But it does say that, well, when one region does it, here we go again. Why can't the other?
Hello.
Probably, and I'm just going to play devil's advocate. They're going to say, well, we got to get our people to work it. Sometimes we don't get our people. We don't have nobody to work it. That comes up a lot. We don't have anybody to work it. Then the payout, they're always worried about money. And this is what gets me about the big facilities, Norfolk State, Hampton University, Scope, Hampton Coliseum, whatever. All of those buildings cost money. I get that. Now, if I'm the colleges, I know you got to pay your light bills and all this and that. You got to open the building, you got to heat it. But I would want all those high school parents, kids on my campus. And I would try to get it as cheap as possible so they can get in there and play. As a coach, I keep saying, I've always said it, as you get moving on, you want your better teams to be playing on big courts because where's the state tournament? VCU. Somebody is going to go there. So let's get used to playing on it now. Let's have that advantage now. And I'm like you. I think that we should play them in one side. If I'm not mistaken, Pennsylvania, the state I come from, first of all, they don't take just 2 teams from the regions. They take like 4, some send 5. And that's another thing I've argued for years. We shouldn't be sending just 2. I say 4. But Region 5, every year, the 3rd, 4th place teams that get knocked out, I believe can go in the States and win a couple games.
Agreed.
But that's another argument.
Yep.
But what they do, if I'm not mistaken, they play everything at the Hershey Arena. It takes a whole week. They play some during the day games. But it's the old idea of it's state tournament. Yes, kids are going to miss some school, but it's a one time of the year where they miss because it's a state tournament. And people go, the crowds are great for it. But Virginia can't get on this. We're too worried about missing school. We're too worried about travel. And I understand travel, but somebody's going to travel. There's just no doubt about it. You're going to travel.
Used to have
The
state
western part of the state hates the states in Richmond because they got to travel the most.
Sure.
And they're trying to get them back to Lynchburg and wherever all else. And probably when it gets over there, the people on the east side are going to be complaining about, man, we got to go drive all the way to Lynchburg for these games.
Sure.
Somebody's going to complain because you can't. It doesn't matter where you put it. We always say central locations. People still got to drive. But it's the one time of the year you do it. What else are you going to do? But and I don't like when people say, you know what, just shut up and play the games, the best team win. As a coach, I'm going to say, okay, so if you all don't care, then let me pick where I play because it does matter where you play. And I understand, well, when they go to states, they're not playing on their home court. I understand that. That's the way it should be. It should be a neutral floor. So we're going to have this argument. And people keep arguing about going back to single A, double A, triple A. I just kind of wish that argument would die out. That's never going to happen. So let that thought just go. And somebody asked me about district tournaments. Well, you can't have district tournaments so much anymore because you have different levels of school in there. Like
well, no, you can. Hold on. I saw your comment on the Virginia Facebook page, Basketball Legends page. And good morning to Keith out there. Says watch out for the Hopewell Blue Devils.
Keith is in?
Trojans. Yeah, he's there. He just said good morning and watch out for
Keith,
the Blue Devils.
Keith.
And you said Hershey. Once you said Hershey, my brain completely got triggered off, and I was thinking chocolate. Now you got me hungry for chocolate. So, Philadelphia teams playing the state tournament in PA. Ed is what Woody asks.
Yes, Philadelphia was put in the PIAA about 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah,
a while ago. They were put into the and I think the private schools are in there also.
Yeah,
parochial schools, which that never happened before because if they did. The reason Philly schools weren't in there, if they were in the PIAA, they would win it every year, pretty much. And even the Catholic schools, the parochial schools, private schools, they didn't want them in because there's a good chance they're going to win them too. But they're all in there now, and they're winning their share of titles. But Pennsylvania just they do it. It looks a little bit like the college tournament, but it's all at one site, the Hershey Arena. And I do think they give out free Hershey kisses for those who come in there.
Just the little kisses, not the big bars.
No.
You just got to come to my house for Halloween trick or treat to get the big bars. We give out the big bars. That's why we run out of candy like that. People love it. At one time, you said Philly teams did not. So, all right, we're going to take a quick timeout. We've got a lot to do on this jam-packed edition. You're going to hear the interview sound. We've got all kinds of interviews, not just the live guests like Rob Cutchins of Franklin, Tim Sparks of Peninsula, Catholic, Clyde Spellman of Indian River, and I'm forgetting one. God help me, please. Raleigh Axselle of Atlee. We've got clips with Xavion Cleveland and Dwight Robinson of Lansdowne, Cash Jackson, and Kenny Harris of Green Run caught up with our man Jack Lowe, plus Donnell Deuce-Cheard of the Woodside Wolverines. It's all coming your way here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Plus, you'll see the brackets. We're making you wait. We're teasing just a little bit. They're coming. Ed and I will forecast who wins state championships for you, too, in all 6 classes for boys and girls hoops. It's on the way here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. What on earth are you doing over there? You feeding the dog? You cleaning the floor? What are you doing? Do I want to know what you're doing?
Here. He's too shy. He won't want to come up here. He's just coming around me. He's looking for affection. Come here. You want to come up on? You want to go on the screen?
Well, we know you're looking for affection too.
No, he said he don't want it on the screen.
We'll be back with more after we hear a quick word from those that make it possible for us. Stay tuned, including Town Bank, right here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. It's CoVA Sports TV.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why there's CHKD Sports Medicine. Advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
I'm here with Woodside class of 2027 combo guard Donnell Deuce Jarrett. His Wolverines win at 69-31 over Bethel in the opening round of the Region 5B tournament as they're on their quest to three-peat. Deuce, it's been a pretty big month for you. You've had some standout performances against Green Runner in a win, John Marshall in a close loss, and tonight you finish up with 17 points. Tell me what's been different about your game here going from freshman to sophomore year and the counter turner from 2024 to 2025.
My preparation. My coach Steph, he always tells me it's important to prepare the right way. And sometimes I'm not gonna lie, I don't be preparing the right way, so that's why some of my games be off. But when I do prepare the right way, I always play good.
You went from a freshman role guy, you and Callan Morrison on last year's team. Certainly Silas Barksdale is going to VCU and Messiah Wells Stevens, who's headed to Radford, are the headliners for his team, but your role has expanded this season. Tell me what you've learned and soaked up from those upperclassmen on this team.
They always tell me to work hard every day. And hard work every day gonna get you to where you need to go. And they always say it's about your mindset. It's not about all the stuff, all the skills and stuff. It's about your mindset and your confidence.
Now, I'm old enough to have covered your coach when he played here at Woodside along with Calvin Baker and set some records hitting threes. You're a pretty good three-point shooter in your own right. You guys ever go at it in practice? Be honest.
Yeah, sometimes.
Do you get him in horse, or does he get you right now?
We be playing two-ball and around the world and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it about you as a shooter? What makes you so effective when you catch it, you're firing, and you're making it more times than not?
My focus. You just gotta focus, and I make sure my mechanics are right, and I get shots up every day.
So be honest, when you watch basketball on TV, and I'm sure you do college pros, who are the shooters or NBA players you like to model and study and put things in their games into your own, if you will?
Miles Kelly from Auburn.
Really? Okay. What does he like about him?
I like his mechanics, and he gets it off quick.
Okay. Recruiting starting for you already. You got your first offer from Radford Division I. Tell me about that and how stoked you were for that.
It gave me a lot of confidence because I'm used to seeing all these other kids get offers and stuff, and I'm not gonna lie, I used to mess with my head a little. So but I always realized that it's not really about that right now because I'm only a sophomore. Sure. So I just continue to work hard, and
it goes from there. Absolutely. Come on, let's run here. You have any dream schools or dream schools down the road you'd hope to get offered from? I'm sure there's some teams you enjoy watching or something like that, right?
I like watching Auburn. They're a great basketball team.
All right, so
Alabama.
War Eagle for you. All right, what are you improving in your game? What do we expect to see out of Deuce Jarrett the rest of this playoff run, the next 6 to 12 months? What are you trying to work on in your own craft?
My body and better defense. Okay. I'm trying to be a better defender.
For Woodside to win a state championship again and make the three-peat, what's it going to take out of you individually and this whole group collectively?
We're all going to have to buy in and play our roles effectively. And we're not going to worry about just individual stats. We're going to worry about team stats and how we play as a team.
Sure. A lot of teams lastly can feel the pressure of going for a three-peat, but it feels like you guys enjoy playing with one another and what's at stake. Tell me about that, just enjoying the moment and savoring this opportunity. And it's something not a lot of kids get a chance to do.
You got to enjoy the moment. got to. Like I said, you just got to go 1-0 every day. You just got to go 1-0 every day, and you just got to enjoy the moment. You don't think too ahead, and you don't think about what's happened before. Just stay in the moment.
That's Woodside's Donnell Deuce. Jarrett, thank you so much. All the best.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
So you heard from the guy they call Deuce, Ed of the Woodside Wolverines, one of the top players from the class of 2027 in the area, is getting a lot of attention offered from Radford. I think more schools will be in the mix. He's had some monster games that we've witnessed against, you saw the one against Green River. We both saw the one against John Marshall in a close loss earlier this season. And we've also got a top 2026 athlete from the beach who's making a lot of noise on both the gridiron and the hardwood, who helped his team punch a ticket to the state playoffs in Class 6. And his Eagles will be in action coming up later today over at the Dollar Dome against the Oscar Smith Tigers. Who are we talking about?
Who are we talking about?
You don't know who we're talking about? I guess you're not checking. You don't know who you're supposed to intro for this, do you?
I'm still getting these. I got to let people know. I'm still getting text messages on the tournaments and region. Let me just say this. Instead of texting me, people, come on the chat line.
We got a show to do. What are you doing reading text messages?
Right. Come on here and ask me the questions and fill them. All right. So that we can get it all done on here. Let's go ahead and get this kid from Lansdowne. First of all, let me go back and Deuce Jarrett. I've watched a lot of games, seen a lot of kids this year. Love that kid. Mm-hmm. I like his court demeanor. He doesn't get too razzed up, out of character. He doesn't take bad calls in a negative manner. He takes to his coaching from Coach Welch very well, coachable kid, and he's talented. He's a talented player. If I'm picking an Ed Young I can't just do top 5.
Do it. Why not? Nobody's stopping you. Do it, Ed Young, all young stars team, like John Mann used to his all
youngins. He'd be in my all youngins team. I like that kid. I like that kid a lot. He's good. Now, the kid from Lansdowne that we're going to hear now, too, he was the one, first game of the year, first time I saw Lansdowne play this year. Of course, everybody wants to see the freshman. I said,
we broadcasted on CoVA Sports TV, right, when they played Denby over in Newport News. Is that right? No, you saw him before that. You saw him against John Marshall, right?
John Marshall. I said.
Someone else. You've been to so many games that I can't keep up with all your games, but go ahead.
I said, who is that kid right there? I like that. Athletic. He can do things. I think later on, you're the one, because nobody had the answer. You told me, Zavion Cleveland plays football. I said, man, I wonder if he's going to go football or he's going to go basketball college. He's a heck of an athlete. Now, he's probably going to go more football because of his size. But it's another kid, I think, doesn't kind of get notoriety, but, boy, he does a lot of things on the court well. I think he's their best player. I think he's their energy guy, and freshman kids are good, but this guy, Cleveland, is good. And you got a chance to talk to him, so let's see how this young man sounds.
All right, I'm here at the Lansdowne multi-sport standout Xavier in Cleveland. 27 points, a new career high as the Eagles beat Glen Allen 71-61 in the region semifinals, and now you're going back to the state tournament for the ninth time in school history. How does it feel? You guys got off to a great start and made a couple of mini surges, but your alley-oop slam was the finishing touch. Tell me about that dunk if you can.
I mean, I rolled my ankle, my legs was cramping, but I seen Zoe was pushing the ball. I seen only one dude down the court. I knew what time it was. I was like, I got to get a fan something, cheer about. So put the cherry on the top, flushed it in.
So you're Mr. Excitement for this team, and you do it on the gridiron as well as the hardwood. Do you practice many dunks? And tell me, do you have a favorite in your arsenal? I'm sure you watch the dunk contest on TV too, right?
I mean, honestly, I don't practice dunks, honestly.
You don't? Okay.
Yeah,
it's
I don't.
Natural.
It's just natural, yeah. My favorite dunk, well, I mean, I can say out of game, probably a windmill, 360 windmill, but in games, probably my one hand off 1 foot, tomahawk, just coming down the lane. Yeah.
Tell me about your skills tonight and what the game plan was coming in to kind of keep them at bay. What was sort of the plan of attack, if you will?
Honestly, I just started off the game hot, so I was just like, keep feeding me the ball. My point guards got me the ball. They was too little.
What's different for you in the second half of the season here? Because you've really picked up your numbers and just your overall play since, I think, the middle point of the year.
I just had to get my touch back. Honestly, coming out from football, I was kind of rusty a little bit, so I just got my touch back and got it rolling.
New faces on this team, a couple of talented freshmen in Dame and Rashad. What has Coach Robinson asked out of you in terms of leadership in addition to your on-court abilities?
I mean, honestly, just like show them like how it's done. and that's all for real. Just show them the way, be a good leader.
Let's chat football for a minute. You had a breakout year this past season in junior. As junior, I think you had, 9, 10 interceptions, something like that, maybe more than that. You had a bunch of interceptions.
I had 8.
8, I was close. All right.
Yeah.
I was giving you an extra 1 or 2.
3 pick six.
3 pick six is not bad. You've gotten some offers. Tell me about the schools that are in the mix with you right now, and any schools that are some maybe favorites for you from college.
I mean, I don't have any favorites right now. Yeah, I'm just seeing how it goes, seeing what school interested in me.
Any offers that kind of jumped out like that was cool to get? Any couple of schools? Any schools you plan on maybe checking out in the future?
I mean, honestly, the surprise for me was Virginia Tech, honestly, because I was like, I got Duke, and it was like a year went by, and then Virginia Tech came into school, and he was just like, he'd like to give me an offer.
Sure. Before we finish up, was that? Go ahead.
Oh yeah, but no, he just told me like he'll give me an offer. It surprised me, honestly.
So the Hokies was a surprise for you. Last one in football. We'll finish up with basketball. What's your thing you're looking for in the school? What are you looking for in the home next level? Because it'll be coming here before you know it in a year plus.
Oh, yeah. I'm just looking for somewhere that I feel safe at and somewhere that just feel like home, where I'm needed.
Good deal.
So, yeah.
Lastly, big matchup coming up on Saturday with Oscar Smith. You guys are going back to the state playoffs. Tell me what it's going to take to get a win and keep this thing going on the quest for a state championship.
I mean, what it's going to take is everybody to just dial in, everybody to do what they do, everybody play high intensity. Honestly, hit shots. We should be good.
Watch out for Zay on the hardwood for the Lansdowne Eagles. Thank you so much. Congrats on the win.
So there you have it. Xavier Cleveland, Lansdowne's Eagles taking on the Oscar Smith Tigers today at 3 o'clock at the Dollar Dome in the Region 6A Championship. Hokies, he was impressed to get that. So I know we got a lot of Hokie fans out there watching. By the way, we've got to shout out some folks watching on Instagram, a couple of our pals, Dan Malloy tuning into the show, and Andrew Duggan over there at South Lakes, former Hoops coach. You know Andrew well. We see him every year at the state tournament, it seems like. And now his South Lake Seahawks are region champs again. Did you see Jordan Scott last night? Had 34 points, the Michigan State recruit, as they beat Westfield to avenge the loss in the Concord District Championship. And they're going to be threats in Class 6. Well, we have a moment because Tim Sparks should be joining us here in just a second. And Class 6 is going to be a lot of fun to watch this tournament play out. You got some teams: Lansdowne, Oscar Smith, South Lakes, Westfield, it used to be WT Woodson. See, I almost did it there. CG Woodson, Doug Craig's Cavaliers, who beat Hayfield last night, who's got a couple of championships. You got some really good programs and championship level coaches in Class 6. It's almost pick a card, any card. And by the way, Sherman Rivers wins his 4th or 5th region title in a row at Patriot. They're taking on Colonial Forge last night. They beat them, and they're going back to states again. So there are legit 5 or 6 teams that can win Class 6. It's a really good region, or I should say division, as usual.
Well, first of all, you mentioned Dan and Andrew listening in, 2 class guys. You know, guys with good character, the type of people you want in your circle. Dan had a really good first year. Head coach Patrick Henry, Community College, did a great job. Saw his team play a couple times. Does a really good job with those guys. That's not an easy level to coach. Sometimes you got players coming in and out, and sometimes players' grades aren't where they need to be, and you got to sit them to learn them. But Dan did a really good job with that. And of course, Andrew, I always fuss with Andrew when I see it. You got out of coaching too quick. We could have used you in there, but he said he didn't want the headaches anymore. But then I think he became athletic director. If you don't want headaches as a coach, going into athletic director is not any less. It's more stress because you got all those teams under you, all the sports under you. But I can never understand that one. But Andrew's a good guy, well organized guy, does a great job too. So hopefully we'll get a chance to see Andrew up here at States. I imagine we'll see Dan at States too, as he goes now on his recruiting trail. So
you know who's never stressed, Ed? Who's never stressed and always has a smile on his face is our good friend, the head basketball coach of the Peninsula Catholic Knights. There he is, Tim Sparks, going for a state championship today as they take on North Cross. Coach, trying to make history. Peninsula Catholic's been around a long time, and the guy you inherited the program from, Trevor Dorsey, did a heck of a job, but you now have them playing for a state championship today. No pressure, right? You keep the smile on your face, but you look a little bit, you got a little butterflies, don't you? Be honest.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me on. I'm just trying to be more like Coach Young every day.
Don't do that. No. Don't be like him. That'll get you in trouble.
You don't want
not do that.
I got all the stress in the world on my face, and I haven't coached in a year. So I'm just telling you right now, and Tim is one guy in the field. I'll tell you this. I don't see him bad calls. I don't see him stressed. Kid shooting at the wrong basket. I don't see him stressed. He's happy. He's got an arm on his shoulder. He shakes more hands than Trump ever did in his lifetime. And, I like seeing good things for Tim.
And he's more popular, by the way, but go ahead, continue on.
Yeah, I mean, You know, some people have the black cloud over their head. This guy has nothing but sunshine over his head, and he lights up the room. And the kids seem to like playing for him. I've got to get to one of his practices, though, and then I want to try to get a couple of his kids to mess up on purpose, just so I can see that side of Jim. Because I've been known to do that. I paid a kid. I said, look, you know, when coach says, let's play hard on defense, tell him I don't feel like it. Just see what he says.
Well, Coach, let's get into it. Today you are in action in the state championship game, the VISAA Division II title. They can go check it out at 3 o'clock against the Miller School at Benedictine. And before we even get into that, yesterday win 67-51 over North Cross. We had it scrolling across our ticker earlier. Heck of a job by your youngsters, and you got to be super proud of where you are right now.
No, I am big time. I'm just really grateful. Like you mentioned earlier, Matt, like I'm really excited. I talked to Coach Dorsey last night. He called me after we won, and he's actually planning on being there tonight. I'm really thankful. He's driving many hours to come and support the guys. And when he took over the program many, many years ago, to my knowledge, PC was like at the bottom of the TCIS. And then within a few years, he really had them battling and had them being one of the top teams. And last year, they made it all the way to the state semifinals versus Miller School. And they actually had to play at the Miller School. And so I'm just thankful that that my guys this year just bought in. And we had a lot of adversity happen yesterday. One of Coach Young's former guys, our guy Devin broke his hand yesterday in the game. So he's got his hand in a cast, and he's such a tough kid, Coach. He begged me to put him back in the game after they already told him they thought he broke it. So my dumb tail put him back in, and next thing you know, he gets an assist for Jalen Wynn on a dunk. And then I ended up having to pull him right back out, though, because you could tell he was in so much pain. So, I mean, Devin's such a tough kid to go out there and still get an assist with a broke hand. It just says a lot about him.
Yeah, it does. Devin Gaines, you're talking about certainly a key weapon along with Jalen Wynn. Let's go over some other guys for you, because I know Wynn's having a heck of a year, all-state level guy, player of the year guy, and he's getting a lot of attention for the next level. In fact, he's committed, correct?
He did, yes, sir, to Virginia State, which is really exciting. They're actually playing, you know, Coach Blow, their head coach, is a 757 native, and he's playing for a CIAA championship today at 4 p.m. in Baltimore, Maryland.
How about that? Pretty cool. And I know Justin Hunter's a youngster that's come on to go with Wynn and Gaines and stepping up for you. Fill us in on some other players that have contributed to this. And you got a big matchup today with Miller School, as we have it on the screen there, who beat Hargrave in the semi 71-48. And we saw them against Woodside. I've got a chance to broadcast their game here on CoVA Sports TV. They've got shooters all over the floor.
They do, big time. Like I mentioned yesterday, Ryan Crotty is obviously one of the best shooters, not only in the state, but a lot of people have said in the whole country. But it's not just the Ryan Crotty show. I mean, you saw him in live this year. You just said they got multiple guys that can really shoot it. And Coach Merriweather, I've always had a lot of respect for him. When I had the honor to coach with Coach Macedo at Virginia Wesleyan as an assistant, Jack was actually an assistant in the ODAC as well at the time. So that's when I first met him. And the stuff that he runs on offense, you know, my guys are going to be really, really tired midway through the first quarter, just having to fight through the screens and watch the backdoor cuts. And his guys run on offense, constantly moving all around on the court. So we definitely got our hands full today.
Ed?
Now, first of all, I'm just still, you lost me when Devin broke his hand. The kid is just a bundle of energy. He loves to play. I'm surprised that beg you to put him back in. We had him for a couple of years at Nansman, and you know, that's the type of kid he would be. I can see that. Every time he had some bumps and bruises, nothing broken, and he wanted to play. And you know, our trainer said, we better hold him out a little bit, and he wanted to go right back in there. And then he would give attitude, and I'd have to really give him the look so that he calmed down before we put him back in there. But boy, that's just devastating, because I know he'd want to play in that, and not a great way to end your high school career, to have to sit and watch. But hopefully championship will still come to Team Wake and feel that he was part of that. But, you know, when we're talking Miller School, and we did see him play, and as you were talking, I was going over those plays in my head. He does a ton of that screen action, a lot of backdoor stuff. They don't, unless they but we're missing somebody, whatever. They really have no inside game. Though those shooters, who's the tall, skinny one? I know Crotty, but there was another guy about 6'6", 6'7".
Shane Christmas.
Yeah, that's him. Number
that
10.
kid can shoot it too. I was telling Matt, I looked at that kid. I said, he's prototypical Ivy League player. Smart, can shoot it, doesn't rush nothing. He would be. I could see him at Princeton, Harvard, easy. But they do. You're gonna have to know where people are, and they pass the ball well too.
Very well.
So for limiting their inside play, they're extremely strong in what they present on the court too. Now, Tim, the question I'm going to ask you is: you take over PC team. The program has done fairly well. You've been all over the place, so you've had a multitude of experiences. When you took over the PC job, knowing that this team is right on the verge, what were some things in your head that you said, okay, here's 1, 2, 3, I've got to get this done? I mean, I imagine establishing a relationship with the kids anytime you come in a new program, that's probably job number one. But what are some things in your mind say, okay, what can I do to get this program right over that edge, which so far you have?
No, thank you. Relationships are big. Like, I know you were joking earlier, but about me shaking 1,000 people's hands, but I'm a relationship type of person, and I love building relationships. And I knew going in, these guys didn't know who I was. They could care less that I was the head coach of the apprentice school a couple of years ago. Some of the kids, they don't even, it is what it is. But establishing the culture was probably like number one on my list. Like, I'm really, really grateful that my AD is a 757 native too, is Chris Harper, and he's a basketball guy. He's currently the head women's basketball coach of Virginia Peninsula Community College, and he's my boss that hired me. And he told me right away during the interview that he wanted me to work in the building. So I'm really, really grateful that I'm a health and PE teacher there. And I'm crazy enough, Coach Young, to do what you just said. People don't understand how stressful it is, but this is my first year ever being an assistant athletic director as well. So I've been, building a relationship with all the coaches and trying to get to know all the kids in the school and just trying to change the culture for the positive, and being in the building. Coach Dorsey never was in the building, so I knew that was going to be a big challenge right away from the jump. And I would say just changing culture and having the guys actually trust me, and having the parents be supportive and buying into what my vision was for the program, if that makes sense.
What I'm saying is, Tim, I think, you hit it right on the head. When I assess Tim Sparks, your ability to build relationship, you kind of calm people down right off the bat, no matter who you meet. And yeah, we joke about the handshakes and whatever. And I said you were responsible for the outbreak of COVID because you shook so many hands. But
I tell him stop saying that, Tim. Every time he says, stop saying that. People think you're saying something awful there. Stop saying that. But go ahead.
No, as long as it don't bother Tim, I'm not worried about nobody else.
Yeah.
But Tim, the idea of him, and this is when I've met him years ago, and I'm watching games like crazy, and I'm watching coaches. Sometimes I'm not even watching the action. I'm watching the coaches, interaction on the bench, timeouts, interaction with the assistants. And I see with Tim is one of those guys that he'll talk to his assistants. He'll ask for suggestions. There's a lot of head guys that don't do that, who should, because when they make their own damn decisions, they make a lot of mistakes. I've seen that this year. But Tim doesn't do that. He gets a lot of input. Of course, he has final say. And I'm thinking, Tim, and you got a unique background because you've been at different places, head coach, assistant coach, college level, high school. I think with your unique background, you pull from so many people that it allows you to have that, I guess, freedom in coaching, because a lot of people are afraid of it, especially on a high school level. They don't want assistants that make a lot of suggestions. They're afraid to do, and this is a point people don't understand. They're afraid to do an assistant's suggestion, and then it works, and then they're afraid to give the assistant the credit, because people will say, well, the assistant coach is coaching the team. What's the head guy do? And I've learned a long time ago in my job, it's college coaching as an assistant, that you got to rely on your assistants. What are they there for? Tim, I think you do an excellent job of that, and I think that's a big reason for your success.
No, I thank you. Coach, if you don't mind, I really would love to give a shout out to this is my 23rd year coaching basketball in a row, and I've been an assistant coach for far more of those years than I've been a head coach. And so I've obviously taken a lot from all the head coaches that I've worked under. I mean, Matt even knows when I was at Green Run High School in 2005, you had just left, coach, to go back over to Nansemond River in Suffolk. And I got to benefit. Coach Urban, I got a chance to benefit from really from all the stuff that you had instilled. And he tried to continue to do what you had started at Green Run. And we had a lot of success with BJ Jenkins and Latae Darden, and the names just go on and on. That we had so many guys that I coached there in the 2 years I was at Green Run that went on to play college basketball. We had like 8 or 9 guys in those 2 years go on to play collegiate basketball. But here at PC, I can't explain to you how grateful I am as a brand new person. Coach Dorsey's assistants from last year, they didn't know me from Adam. I mean, they knew me a little bit because I recruited PC kids where I was at apprentice school and when I was at Virginia Wesleyan. But my assistant, Coach David Payton, he's been there for 9 years. His son actually played basketball there at PC, and he's a plethora of knowledge of the game. Like, every scout that he gives me is so detailed. He loves watching film. He loves breaking it down. He helps our guys be prepared every day in practice. He's an all defensive guy. He's leading our shell drill every day, talking about the principles. And then my other guy, Coach CJ Wright, that he played collegiate basketball at a high level, and he's been at PC. This is his 5th year. So when I took on, I immediately met those 2 guys for dinner. And I just kind of laid out my vision, and I told them I would love, and I would be blessed if they would stay on board. I wasn't really sure if they were going to, especially because they didn't know me. But they were willing to stay on, and that helped me a lot with building the relationships with the guys, because a lot of the guys already entrusted them, and they knew that they had the knowledge for the game and they could teach the game, and they were just good people. So that was a big thing, Coach Young. I'm glad you mentioned that, because my 2 assistants, I do lean on them. Every time we time out, we're always huddling. I'm asking them what adjustments we need to make and so forth, and what strategy. Like, we've been texting all night last night and even early this morning about the matchups and, what's plan B for matchups and so forth. But my assistant coaches have been a big blessing to me.
That's awesome to hear. We know your time is precious, Coach. So before we let you run here and get ready for your game today, taking on Miller School in the VISAA Division II Championship coming up at 3 o'clock at Benedictine. Again, you see the brackets. They're taking on Miller at 3 today. You have games all day long at Benedictine in the private school state championships with the VISAA. Another chance to shout out, if you can, Coach, just the young men that have helped you. We've talked about Jalen Wynn and Devin Gaines and some others that have helped you get to this point and will be essential, because obviously depth is not one of your strengths, but you have a lot of quality athletes that can score. We watched you in double overtime beat Norfolk Collegiate in a back-and-forth game, and it's a resilient group, isn't it?
Yes, it's amazing. The other young man that's really helped that we haven't mentioned is Zion McClone. Mm-hmm. He came over this year from Suffolk and Kings Fork, and he's an elite athlete. I mean, in our state quarterfinal game, I don't know if you guys got to see it at all, but we played Seton School from Northern Virginia, and they're one of the best well-coached teams. That Coach Dan, he's amazing. He's been there for over 20-plus years, and he has 2 sons that play for them, and their basketball IQ is super high. And but Zion had a game changer where it was like a tie game in the 4th quarter, and somebody got a steal, and they kicked it out to him. And on the fast break, Zion is all of maybe 5'11", and he ended up on a fast break rising over top of a kid and dunking the ball on him. And then that's such a momentum changer. I mean, every time he jumps, he literally looks like he's jumping off of a trampoline. And he's just a competitor every day. Coach Young, he tells me, I want to guard whoever the other team's best player is. So last night he was guarding North Cross. The night before that, he was guarding the leading scorer for anybody we played this whole year. He has held their leading scorer to lower than what they've held. So big shout out to Zion. He's been a big blessing. When I got the job, I had no idea that he and his cousin were going to be coming over to me at PC. So he's been a big difference maker. I've already had a bunch of schools tell me that they plan on offering him a full scholarship And then Coach Young, his father is a local legend too. His father's mural is, if you've ever, I know you guys have been in Eccles Arena where I graduated from at Norfolk State. There's only a few people's pictures on the wall, and Zion's father is Kenny Evans. You remember Kenny Evans, Matt?
Oh, yeah.
So
I didn't know that was his dad.
That's
wow.
his father. So he's got good.
There you go.
He's got good DNA, Coach Young.
I'd say so. I didn't know that. Did you know that, Ed? I didn't know that was his dad.
I didn't know
father,
his dad.
His father got drafted to the Boston Celtics, Coach Young.
What that?
So,
Then now you got to see where the genes come through. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I'm really blessed to have him too. And I thank y'all for having me on here. And if you don't mind too, Matt, I know I'm a man of faith, and I really feel like the Lord is, has blessed me this season. And, we pray before our practice and after practice. And I'm just thankful that the Lord has helped us be in this position. And this is the first time in school history they've ever been to a state championship. And I'm excited that you got my brother, by the way. When I just told you I went to Norfolk State, I saw you guys got Indian River head coach coming on, my brother Clyde.
Yeah.
And Coach Young, a lot of people don't know, he played linebacker at Norfolk State. I don't know if y'all knew that, but he was a PE major with me, Kenny Harris. There's so many guys that have been successful in coaching that were health and PE majors with me during my time at Norfolk State. And Clyde has been a brother to me. We've been texting each other all season, and I'm really proud of him. He's one of the most humble guys you guys will ever meet. He started his own AAU program a few years ago too, called No Hype. And but Clyde and his family are just amazing. So it's a blessing you guys got him coming on next.
I could see, even now with his build, I could see that he hit some people legally in his day. So that doesn't surprise me. What's surprising me is you, him, and Kenny Harris in the same class. That had to be one heck of a situation if you all sat next to each other. And now I see why Harris got through college, because he had you guys doing his work, and he had the pretty girl with the red hair on the right side doing his work too. That's how he got through school.
Yes, let it be known. You got it, Coach.
Well, hey, Coach, thank you so much for coming on today. All the best to you. It's fantastic to see the success you and your program's having. Say hello to your folks for us and your family. You got a great family, a wife, the kids, the whole family come out to support you, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day. I appreciate you.
Go win that title, Timmy.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Take care.
There you go. That's Tim Sparks, our guest here, the head basketball coach of Peninsula Catholic, with us here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. We'll come back with Clyde Spellman of the Indian River Braves in just a bit, but we have to pay the bills, as Ed likes to say, because we have a couple more sponsors we want to get shouted out during our commercial break, and then we'll actually maybe throw in another little of those clips from one of the games that Jack Lowe was at. In fact, get a little sound from Green Run. You'll hear from maybe Kenny Harris when we come back here, as they were able to take down Princess Anne in the regional semifinals. I forget what night it was, because when you do what I do and you're all over the place, you forget the days run together. And all we know is today is March the 1st. It's a Saturday, and we've got all kinds of basketball for all of you. And we'll break it down for you on CoVA Sports TV with the brackets coming up too. You've seen some scores scroll across the ticker, but now let's hear a word from some of those that make it possible for us. Stay tuned.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
Get ready for a season of thrills and excitement. Virginia Beach United invites you to experience the adrenaline of USL League 2 Pro Soccer. Tickets are only $10 for adults, $7 for kids, and children 5 and under are free. It's the perfect family outing filled with fun and entertainment. Secure your seats now for a season of unforgettable soccer moments with Virginia Beach United. Don't miss out.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better. And it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Hi, this is Wayne Williams of Williams Deloach. I'm an experienced personal injury attorney, and I hope you don't need my services because I certainly don't like to see people injured on a daily basis. But in preparation for that unfortunate situation, your insurance coverage is very vital to your case. Give me a call today. I'd be happy to discuss your insurance situation for you and your family. That's the most protection you have, and you want to have that ahead of time.
CoVA Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit CoVApainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger, fries, drink, and a sundae. No time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. Right now at DQ. Happy tastes good.
All right, now talking with Coach Kenneth Harris after Green Run's victory over Princess Anne. Coach, just give me your overall thoughts on the game. You guys struggled a little bit in the first half, got to go into the second half. What's going on?
Man, just looked like a lot of intensity starting off that game, and we knew PA was going to come to play. Hats off to them, they got a young team with everybody coming back, so we knew they was going to come out fighting, and I knew the adrenaline was just up from the start of the game. So, it was the type of regional game you want.
Their defenses really seemed to contain Cass, Trey, and a couple others in the first half. Just what kind of adjustments did it take in the second half to start scoring and really get on that run you guys got on? I
mean, one, we got to be patient, and then when we have other players hitting shots, I thought Cass, he was very patient and found his holes, and he started off this game, I think he had like 10, just finding his gaps, and once we had other guys hitting shots, that's what got us going, But one thing I told him, we got to make sure we defend.
And as a coach, how do you keep your team kind of staying calm, not getting too down when they start out a little slow like that? How do you get them to stay in the game and make what they did happen?
I tell you what, it's hard because I'm up, and it's hard, but you got to calm them down, and they feed off of me. We practice hard. We get after it. I get on them the same way in practice. So, it's one thing I had to call a timeout and tell them to calm down. Love y'all guys, man.
So you guys will play the winner of Indian River First Colonial. I don't know the result yet, but you guys will get that in the region championship. Regardless of the situation, you guys will be going back to the States. Just talk about that and just how that's going to go.
Yeah, hats off, man. I got two seniors, man. I have 4 in junior and all, but I have 2 captain seniors, man, that has been with me since they were freshmen, man, and they know what it takes, and they made sure our young guys is ready for these moments, man. So, these are the reasons why we get there. Good leadership. So, we got to be ready to go Saturday. Whoever it is, it's a championship game. So you got to be ready to go. No seeds matter, no records matter. No everything's thrown out the window. So 0-0, and let's go.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And that was Green Run head basketball coach Kenneth Harris. His Stallions beat Princess Anne 64-46, and they'll take on Indian River, a 74-65 winner over First Colonial. We're now delighted to be joined by the head basketball coach of the Braves, Clyde Spellman, with us. Coach, congratulations on making it to the state tournament, number 3 seed. Braves sort of flew under the radar, and here you are going to states playing for a championship game today. How's it feel?
Oh, it feels good, man. Good morning, guys. Good morning.
What's up, Clyde? How you doing?
Good, Coach. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, too. I possibility of next year you might see me on the sideline going against you somewhere. Then again, you may not. Who knows?
Hey, man, I definitely hope to see you on the sidelines, man. It's great coaching you. It's great seeing you, and it'll be good for you. It'll be good for the sport.
Well, I appreciate it, but I tell you what, it was a good year to take off because I wouldn't want to face you this year. You guys you started off like firecrackers all over the place, and then you had a bumpy little bit of time. But now again, you're in the state. You're going to be in the state tournament, depending on where you're going to play next. So, congrats! And this is your what? Third year?
Third year.
Okay.
Well, let's do this for folks that aren't familiar with Clyde Spellman. We've seen you from the younger days. We just had on Tim Sparks earlier, who's going for a state championship at Peninsula Catholic today. He talked about you and Coach Harris and him at Norfolk State days. Kind of take us through the Clyde Spellman background. I know you have Chesapeake ties to another school in the Southeastern District, and you also were an official before you got into coaching basketball. So take us through the Clyde Spellman mini biography, if you can, taking us up to right now at Indian River.
All right, yeah, I've been around for a while. I played ball at Oscar Smith, football and basketball. Came up, then I wound up going to Norfolk State, playing outside linebacker there. That's where I met Tim Sparks and Kenneth Harris and a few others that you might know of, Don Trail Leonard at Churchland. So we got a good group of guys from Norfolk State that's doing good things, that's that's doing things with the youth. Also, I was raised under Indian River as my uncle Freddie Spellman was the coach for many years. So I've been around. I've had good, bad ties with Oscar Smith and Indian River. So I'm pretty much a fan of both at this point.
Yeah, I know you'd love to be in the same venue today to watch the Tigers, as well as you guys go for a region championship today. They're taking on Lansdowne, hosting them at Oscar Smith at 3 o'clock. Now, you guys are playing Green Run at 4 o'clock today at Kellum. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
At 4 o'clock after the girls' game with Princess Anne and Kellum over there at Kellum High and Virginia Beach in the region championships. Go out there, support the Braves, support the Stallions, support high school hoops if you're a big fan of it, and watch these two teams compete. It's not a winner-go-home game because both are going on to the States. But let's highlight some of your young men that have helped you get to this point. I know L.J. Luckett had 18 points. Chris Edwards with 17. Josh Young with 13. It doesn't feel like you have a hallmark go-to guy, a stud, but you have a lot of quality athletes that are starting to click at the right time.
Yes, we got a young group. We have a few transfers that came in. Unfortunately, Derek Barnes transferred in from Princess Anne. He tore his ACL. And Cash Perry from Oscar Smith transferred in, and he's the guard. But we really relying on our youth that I've been coaching for 3 years, and now they went through a lot of rough patches, a lot of hard summers, and they pretty much stuck together. And they wanted to stay with a coach and stay with a program and not transfer and leave us. So those guys are starting to see the benefit of all their hard work.
And as Ed can attest to from his days coaching at Nance River for about 20 years and winning all those games of his 500 that he's got in the towel in his background, the Southeastern is a meat grinder with Indian River, Oscar Smith, Kings Fork, Nansman. There's really no nights off in the SED.
Definitely not. Playing in the Southeastern District, it was the same way back in the days. The worst team might have been Hickory, but everybody else was, any night you would have a rough night. So, it's pretty much the same now. But I'm just glad to be have this opportunity to coach a group of young men. I'm blessed.
I want to jump in on that game, and I'll let Ed follow up here. You had a game I watched on NFHS about a week or two ago with Hickory that went to overtime on the road, and that's a team that I felt like that game was key to this little run you've had here, beating Kempsville, beating an upset-minded First Colonial team that knocked off Kellum. Without winning that game at OT, if you lose a game like that, team can kind of go sideways and start to question things. Even though Hickory's not viewed as a power in SED, how important was that game to pull it out the way you did?
I think that was a good game for us to win. The team that we have, like a young-minded team, we have a team of all guys that never had varsity experience. So every game is pretty much a big game without stress. We can't take any nights off, but we're dealing with young people. They play up they play down the competition, and if they have a team that they think is a powerhouse, they kind of shy away. So we've been in both situations, but everything builds character, and I think that's what this team is built on.
We're chatting with Clyde Spellman. He's the head basketball coach of the Indian River Braves, in action today at 4 o'clock over at Kellum High School against top-seeded Green Run for the Region 5A Championship at 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on CoVA Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, Ed.
Clyde, the thing I want to get into before we talk more specifically about this team, your background. Indian River, is it the first high school job that you've had?
No, I've been coaching at Crestwood. I started football, and I did football for 12 years. Transition, I did basketball and football. So I did basketball at Crestwood for 5, I've been running my AAU organization, No Hype organization, 5, 6 years. So I had a lot of great athletes, 3 or 4 from Oscar Smith, Sincere Jones from Churchland, the guys that went to Josh Spellman that went to Hopewell, Cherry. I had a lot of kids that came to my program. So I've been at it for a while. Just been in the background, not really talking a lot, just putting in a lot of development, and also repping at the same time.
A lot of kids going for reaching titles today.
Yeah, and the reason I said that because Clyde is low key on the sideline. We just talked about Timmy Sparks being, very diplomatic, easy to get along with. The kids seem to be play under Clyde. I always looked at Clyde. First of all, and the reason I'm trying to get to this is I remember you officiating some of my games. And then I realized when I went up against you, I said, wait a minute, this dude was reffing my games. Now I got to coach against him.
Please tell me you teed him up, Clyde. Please tell me you gave him at least one tee because he
deserved it. He's the guy that knows the rules. So that's a benefit of coaching, knowing the rules. He knows where to push the limit. He knows what he can get away with. So kudos to coach.
See, this guy tries to get me thrown out of everything everywhere. Tries to make me up as a bad dude, that I hate officials and this and that. I try to tell people, this guy, I'm calm with the officials. Usually I'm asking them how their day is. Is everything good? Good with the wife, the girlfriend?
Always has a joke.
Yeah,
right.
Always has a joke. No doubt. Yes. Yeah, he does.
And besides, with Clyde, again, we just talked about his days as hitting people legally at Norfolk State as a linebacker. How am I going to argue with a referee that's waiting for me? Here, coach, take this ball so I can show you what I did at Norfolk State. So I didn't do that. But Clyde, my question to you is this: as an official, and now you transform into a head high school coach, and of course it's against a lot of guys that you coach against. How did you take your officiating and use it to your advantage as a head coach at the high school level?
Good question.
Oh man, that's a great question. It's huge. I think every coach should go through a full training of officiating. It definitely makes you a better coach, and it adds to your game. It definitely, you're able to teach your kids what to look for, what officials want, and what not to do. So at the same time, I think it's a must that every coach should add that to their game to make them a better coach.
Yeah, because that's different. You don't see too many guys that are officiating, and you did a lot of good big time games too. And then all of a sudden you transform into the coach on the sideline. And that's why I didn't like playing against him, because Clyde got all the 50-50 calls all the time. And I said to one referee one time, I won't mention his name, I said, hey man, why is he getting all the calls? Coach, I used to ref with him. I said, all right,
don't put that in the atmosphere. Don't put it in the atmosphere. No, these guys really respect me, and I respect them as well. So it is kind of harder for those guys to see me on the sidelines and not be judgmental. But most of the guys and pretty much everybody on board 94 and the other boards that know me, they have a respect for the game. And
coaching kids.
It's a situation. Sorry for the phone.
No, you're good. It's cutting in and out. What were you saying? Yeah, we got you now. Go ahead. Go ahead. We lost you for a second. Go ahead. Uh-oh. Having some volume technical issues with Coach Spellman here, so bear with us.
For some reason, I'm buzzing right now, fella.
Well, they're watching on the internet. That's why they're calling you. But go ahead. Continue with what your point was. We lost you for a second. Go ahead.
Yeah, the thing was is that the referees have so much respect for the game, and I wouldn't want it any other way because the kids are the main focus.
Absolutely. Before we let you run and get ready for this region championship game today against Green Run, we know your time is precious, so thank you for coming on here on game day. You highlighted a couple of the kids you've got, a couple of new faces, the Luckett's, the Edwards that are essential in today's matchup. Tell me about what you think of Green Run. It's a tough task led by Cash Jackson and Trey Miller, a couple 1,000-point scores. And regardless of today, you've also got to be mindful of your next opponent, which is the do-or-die game, Woodside or Maury in the state quarter. So how much have you and your staff already tried to gather some film, go to the notebook and look at tendencies of those two teams, knowing that's the winner go home game coming up on Tuesday.
Yeah, been coaching against those guys for a while. Either AAU, Cash played for my AAU organization for quite a few years, so I know him very well. Great kid. Trey as well. So we got a double Trey, and then we got to try to deny Cash. So that's not an easy job, but those guys deserve everything they get in Woodside and Maury. You know what you're getting from Darren and Wells. So we just got to play our A game, and I'm just glad to be in the state, playing as a coach, and had a chance to officiate as well in the state. So I'm pretty familiar with everything with the process.
And given that pride and tradition at Indian River High School, it goes back to the 1980s when a guy by the name of Alonzo Mourning used to dominate in the paint. Ed remembers him quite well from his days at Suffolk High in Norview.
Yeah, I never had to face him, but I saw Bill Lassiter had those teams, and boy, what a job. Bill did not mess around. He had those kids disciplined, but they could play. And Clyde, that kind of goes into my question. When you took over Indian River, they've had some lean years. It's the first time that we get to look at the regional championship and we see the name Indian River. And as Matt mentioned a few seconds ago, back in the day, it was automatic. You're going to see it. When you took over this job, and I kind of asked Timmy the same thing, what were some things that went through your mind that you said, okay, here's what I got to do to put my fingerprints on this program?
Honestly, great question again. I just wanted to make my mark and let the world know that I'm a great coach, and I want to make sure that I'm on the level with the great coaches, and I want my players to experience and be on that level. But learning through college ball and learning how to prepare and preparation, weight room, being on time, accountability, all of those things. I just wanted to bring that part that I had in me to add to those guys. But Indian River has been loaded with talent for years. All the coaches before me has done a great job. I appreciate the school for giving me the opportunity to coach there. So I'm just bringing and putting my nick on it. And when I put my nick on it, it's just it happens. I'm born a winner, so I just want to put that into the kids and let them know they believe in themselves.
Well, Braves certainly making some noise here as they've knocked off Kempsville in the regional quarterfinals, and then one other home playoff game, beating First Colonial in the semis to earn themselves a ticket to the state tournament to take on Green Run today at 4 o'clock over at Kellam High in Virginia Beach in the region championship before Tuesday's state quarterfinal matchup against either Woodside or Maury. All the best to you, Coach. Thanks for coming on today. We'll talk to you soon, and take care. Have a good one.
I appreciate for having me, fellas.
Good luck to you, Clyde.
That is Clyde Spellman, our guest here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk, as we talk to you about the region basketball playoffs here on CoVA Sports TV. We'll come back with more. We'll go through the brackets, all the divisions. I know people are waiting for that. We've got a couple more guests joining us here on the program, some more high school hoops sound. It's all coming your way here on this latest installment on the first day of March. The madness is here, and the March to March championships coming across the way, too. We might even show you the Sun Belt women's basketball brackets. Yeah, we got those, too, because I'll be down in the Sunshine State getting a suntan. That's right. Ed'll be jealous. He's so jealous. He wish he could go to Florida, and he can't.
I wouldn't mind being Pensacola, where it's warm and nice. Yeah, I agree. You got me on that one. I wouldn't mind being down there for a couple days in the sun and then watch some games at night. Boy, that'd be the thing.
You snooze, you lose. Let's hear a word from some of those sponsors. They're never snoozing. They're on board with 757 Saturday Sports Talk and CoVA Sports TV.
Hi, this is Wayne Williams of Williams Deloach. I'm an experienced personal injury attorney, and I hope you don't need my services because I certainly don't like to see people injured on a daily basis. But in preparation for that unfortunate situation, your insurance coverage is very vital to your case. Give me a call today. I'd be happy to discuss your insurance situation for you and your family. That's the most protection you have, and you want to have that ahead of time.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
All right, talking here with Cass Jackson after Green Run semifinal victory. Cass, you guys are going back-to-back years to the regional championship. How's that feel?
Feels good because, we put in work, and the work shows, especially when it's playoff time, It's win regionals or die trying, you feel me? Win states or die trying. That's where we at right now.
That's right. You guys seemed to struggle with 10 in the first half, but you guys really got to go in the second half. You had multiple buckets. Just what did it take? What kind of adjustment did it take in the second half to get going?
Just not being afraid of the moment and using our crowd, using the energy, pressing, energy, diving on the floor, stuff like that is how we win games. That's how we win in the playoffs.
This is your last home game here at Green Run. Just what are you going to miss most?
The culture, the fans, everything. I love Green Run. It's my home.
You guys are going to play the winner of First Colonial or Indian River. We don't know the result yet, and so for the region championship, just talk to me how you guys will keep working over the next few practices to try and finish out the region.
Just game planning. Of course, we're going to watch that game to see what we got to do to win this regional championship.
What's your best qualities to tell college coaches who may be watching what they need to know about you?
I'm a pass first guard. I play defense. I can play full court. I can shoot it. Just all that, everything, all around player.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we welcome you back to the program. Here we got Robbie Cutchins from the Franklin Broncos coming up in just a bit. You heard from Cass Jackson of the Green Run Stallions. Also, Clyde Spellman, the head coach of Indian River, as well as Coach Kenneth Harris of Green Run. There you see the bracket, Ed, on the screen for Region 5A. Stallions beat Hickory and PA. Braves beat Kempsville and FC, which knocked off Kellum. That's the stunner so far on the local front in the 757. Championship game coming up at 4 o'clock today down in 5B. You see it on the screen. Booker T. Washington is the site for Woodside and Maury. You took in Woodside Nansman 39-35, as well as Maury over Kings Fork 48-41. Commodore slipped by Granby in the first round. Nansman had an 18-point lead against Norview. Saw it get shaved down to 1. And held them off thanks to Quentin Cruz's exploits. Big game for that sophomore guard for the Warriors. And Woodside behind Silas Barksdale, Messiah, Wells Stevens, Donnell Deuce, Jared and company getting the job done. Are you expecting a Woodside and Green Run, the 1 seeds, to win today with little to no trouble? Or do you think one of them could run into some trouble? What's your feel?
Well, I got Woodside edging out Maury. After watching that game, those semifinals, Maury did a really good job on took Kings Fork completely out of their game. Kings Fork just could never get anything going at all. And Woodside, and a lot of people were surprised, had a heck of a problem with Nansemond River. And let me just say this about Nansemond River. Of course, my old school, all those kids I've coached, and of course, Joe, Coach Axselle was a guy. It's just hats off to that season they had. And the job Joe did in that game, I thought the game plan was excellent. I think Woodside was, I heard some people around me saying, boy, this Woodside's not playing well. That's the worst I've seen Woodside play. Nansemond River took them out of a lot of what they'd like to do. They did a great job on them. No, Woodside wasn't hitting one of their 80-point games, but that had to do with Nansemond River more so than Woodside messing up. They had their shots they normally get. They ran their offense well. They just couldn't get untracked against Nansemond River defense. So hats off to those guys at Nansemond River. That's a tough one to lose. But Woodside once again showed why they keep prevailing. They've had some games of this nature where they keep pulling them out. They do the right things at the right time. And this is why I think they're going to be a son of a gun to beat. But I say that Maury has the tools that can do it. Of course, they both will move on to states, and I still think Woodside will ramp it up a bit when they get to that level. Green Run, Indian River, we just had on Clyde. We heard Kenny. Green Run's been here before many a times. This is new for Indian River. I'm big on it being there before. It means a lot. I think Indian River may give them a battle at first. I just think Green Run's experience, their height, guard play with Cash, I think they edge that out. And both, of course, they'll both move on into states, and we'll see what they can do. But I think Woodside and Green Run have the capabilities of winning a few games in the state tournament. I picked the Woodside back in August to win their third straight at 5, and I'm not going to change that right now.
Not really going out on a major limb, by the way. They are the prohibitive favorite. You see in 5C, Albemarle had to rally in the fourth quarter to beat 8-seeded James River Midlothian, then avenge their December loss to Mills Godwin, beat LC Bird last night by 12. They beat them for the second time this year. Skyhawks are still going to the state playoffs. They'll take on the Region 5D champion, that is Riverside. J.R. Tucker, by the way, beat William Fleming in the quarterfinal in overtime before losing at home in the semis to LC Bird. First home playoff win for them, much like Nance River. Kudos to them. Great year they had. First home playoff win since like 1978. But Riverside is red hot. 86 points in the championship over Riverbend. 85 against Stonebridge, who's not that long removed from a state championship, Ed, beating Green Run in the year after COVID in 2021. And now Riverside, moving on to the states, we'll scan past some other classes and go back to those regions in a moment. But you see the state tournament is starting to fill out as far as who's playing who. So we do know in Class 5, it's going to be Riverside taking on LC Bird in the quarters, Albemarle taking on Riverbend in the quarters. Riverside could very well run into a Woodside in the final. They're playing really, really well. And they're scoring a lot of points behind Max Lawson and Mason Ridgeway. I think they're better than the common fan realizes, the average bear, as they say. But they're a team I've been on all year long. They've been number 2 in the state from start to finish, only behind Woodside and just ahead of the Green Runs and Albemarles of the world.
Yeah, that shapes up to be a heck of a battle when you look at that. It could be in the semis. We could be looking at, as you say, Green Run against Woodside. That other side, it's Riverside. I would say Riverside and Albemarle in my mind. And of course, again, I'm not going out on a limb. We're pretty much taking chalk. I keep looking hard at LC Bird, though. I keep looking hard at LC Bird, that they can throw a monkey wrench in all of this and be a problem for everybody to coming through there. And then what are teams like, a Maury or a Green Run cast their opportunities to get into that state championship? That looks to be really good in terms of what's happening up there. It's kind of wishing maybe Woodside and Green Run would be an opposite bracket and maybe meet for the state title. And we'd definitely have that 7-5-7 champion. Yeah. That's going to be a battle for those squads.
It really is. The other brackets, and we'll go through some regional looks in a minute, but Class 6 is shaken out with South Lakes and Hayfield. Patriot against the Oscar Smith or Lansdowne runner-up. Colonial Forge visits the Lansdowne Oscar Smith winner. And C.G. Woodson taking on Westfield. My goodness, they do cross bracket in Class 6, so you could see an Oscar Smith Lansdowne rematch potentially, but you can't sleep on those teams from up north because South Lakes is defending champ for a reason, led by Jordan Scott. Woodson behind Coach Doug Craig and that really talented point guard in Kalen Chilton. He's got some veteran guys around him like Noah Lumbago, Theo Burke. They're a well-schooled, well-oiled machine. And then Westfield's a team that's coming. I don't think if they get there this year, they're going to get there in years to come because that is a non-starting 5 of seniors, no seniors. And we saw them early in the season, and they were still trying to peak and click. And I think they could be a problem for anybody in that bracket. And Patriot, they're quietly mowing along. They graduated Tay Barber and Isaiah Vick. And here they are with a relatively new cast, but they've got a culture and a winning tradition, does Coach Sherman Rivers, led by Elijah Gaskins in the backcourt. So, again, this is a region where I don't think there's a definite favorite. It's pretty wide open, whereas Class 5, definite favorite in Woodside. Class 4 might be wide open as well. We'll go through that with Hanley, Heritage Leesburg. We've got Riley Axselle from Atlee coming on the program. Varina's been there before. They lost last night to Atlee. Tuscarora lost to Hampton in the state championship. Seems to be pretty wide open there too, but Class 3, Northside's the favorite. Class 2, John Marshall's the hands-down favorite. And in Class 5, Woodside's the favorite. But I think 6, 4, and 1 are more wide open, although 1, I think it's George Wythe or Patrick Henry Glade Spring. I really think that's the case.
I'm looking at this 4, and I know Hanley's been on top all year, 24-1. I don't know, Atlee at 23-1. Those would be the two standouts for this 4, but I don't know. Churchland's been up and down, especially late in the year. Hampton is at a young back court. They've grown through the year. Of course, there's that name Verona in there. And then again, Tuscarora and EC Glass, we're not going to say a whole lot about, but one of those two teams obviously can have a whole lot to say about how this tournament shapes up.
Well, Tuscarora's got the big man inside in Joshua Fegan, who was once at Norview. He's given Michael Newkirk an inside presence. Remember last year's team with those guards, when Jaden Johnson and those shooters, they were known to hit you with threes galore, and that's how they almost came back to beat Hampton. But this team's a little more inside out, a little more polished in that respect. EC Glass is balanced. DJ Best, by the way, another local guy. He went to Lansdowne High School. He's coaching the Hilltoppers, who lost to Verona a couple years ago in a state championship. So a lot of schools that have been there before. And Atlee's lone loss was to Heritage of Leesburg, Ed. Churchland, by the way, might have the best player in the field, and Sincere Jones is going to Virginia Tech. So you talk about a takeover player in these tournament games. He can be the guy that has one of those 30, 35-point games, 25-point games, 15, 20 rebounds, 6, 7 block shots. If the Truckers have that from Sincere Jones, they can knock off anybody. I don't know if they'd be my favorite to win Class 4, but they're dangerous enough with him to go out there and cause heck for people. Keith wants to know, as we wait for Robbie Cutchins to join us on the program, he wants to know who Franklin plays this week. We are glad to show you that, Keith. Franklin is going to take on Northumberland in the state quarterfinals. There it is on the screen. Northumberland coming up, that will host them. Lancaster's going to host Alta Vista. George Wythe or Perry McClure will host Chilhowie, and Patrick Henry Glade Spring will host George Wythe or Perry McClure. And the finals are going to be on Friday, March the 14th at VCU at 2:30 in the afternoon. As far as the state quarters and state semis, the dates of those, folks want to know state semis are on Friday, March the 7th. I'll be down in Pensacola for that. And the state quarters coming up on Tuesday, March the 4th at the Higher C Gymnasium. So that's what you're looking at for the brackets for Class 1. We give you a little wider view of it. And Class 2 is starting to shake out too. We didn't show you that yet. You got John Marshall hosting Luray or Central Woodstock. Greensville's going to visit the winner of that game that's later today. Floyd County hosting Virginia High. Graham hosting Nelson County. What do you think about that, Ed? John Marshall Invitational again, which, by the way, I had to say it right now while we have a chance. John Marshall put up more points per game in the regionals than the NBA's highest scoring team, the Memphis Grizzlies. You do know that, right? Memphis does it. You laugh. Wait. Memphis does it in 48 minutes now. 48 minutes to the Grizzlies. Okay? They average 123.1 points per game. John Marshall, on the other hand, in the regional playoffs, they put up this year 126.7 points per game.
I have
Tony
to.
Montrose weighs in, and he's very upset about this. You see his comment on X for us. When's the VHS going to act? There are so many good 2A and Class 2 schools in the state. They have no chance of competing. We all know what they're doing, and I'm surely hoping. Same time, it's a shame for honest athletes who are trying to move to the area because John Marshall wants to ruin high school. I don't think they want to ruin high school basketball. I think this is a view of a fan of a competing team in Class 2. But I can understand why there's a sentiment because, like you've said, for years, it feels like everybody's playing for second place.
And they're doing it again. When you went to this bracket, I'll admit it, I went to the bottom and said, who's going to play Marshall in the championship game? I didn't even look
at ask you that. Who's going to play Marshall? Is it going to be Floyd? Is it going to be Graham? Is it going to be Virginia High or Nelson? Who is going to play him?
You know what? I'm looking. Graham has caught my attention.
Well, they won the state football championship, and they beat Virginia High last night for losing the previous couple of encounters. I'm with my man Brian Harmon and the Buffaloes. I think we're sleeping on Floyd County, which got knocked out early in last year's playoffs. Noah Farley's having a great year. Gavin Harrington is healthy. They got a couple of guards, and I'm wanting to see somebody out there try to hold the ball on them and just get the reaction of everybody at the table. See how long you can hold it for. Play a game. Let's have a contest. I say 45 seconds to a minute. Try to hold it. Who will attempt to hold the ball? Because right now, if you don't hold the ball, guess what's happening to you, Edward? If you don't hold the ball against John Marshall, this is what they're doing to you. They're scoring 124 on King William, 138 on Arcadia, and 118 on Greensville. You say they're not very good. Well, they went 20-5 to Greensville, so they can't be that bad, and they scored 118 points on Greensville.
you look at those scores. You know, and I shouldn't laugh, but I don't know.
You are laughing. You're making me crack a smile.
It's comical, and I'm going to refrain from all the talk that we've done in the past, and just, you know, it is what it is. And until the VHSL says it shouldn't be, who are we to say anything? I'm just going to leave it at that. And you say hold the ball. You got to be careful because
why?
Marshall's defense is going to make you
be careful. They're losing by 70, 80 points. What are we being careful of?
You can't run with them unless you feel you can.
That's why you hold the ball.
Right. But if you hold the ball, you can't win the game 0-0.
Right.
So you're going to have to hold the ball, but you're going to have to be able to score some buckets. And then you're going to have to play fantastic defense. That's the whole idea behind hold the ball. Now, if you want to hold the ball so you don't lose 124-58 and you'd rather lose 77-10, then you could try that too. But it's an art to holding the ball. 98% of most high school teams can't do it. Most coaches won't do it, but it's not because they won't. They can't. It's hard to teach. It's hard to keep the kids patient. And you're almost saying, we're afraid of you. So you put a mindset in a kid. We're afraid of you. I've had a couple of teams in the past do it, and I had to really have a preach sermon with them about, look, this is what we're going to do. This is why we're going to do it. And I came right out and said it. We can't play them straight up at their pace. Right. And we were a team that ran too. We can't, they're too strong at that. We have to cause confusion on defense, and we have to make them impatient when they're on defense for our bucket opportunities to come up. And it's worked a couple times, not all the time, but it's worked a couple times. But you really got to have as they say, the stars and planets align for that to work, because most high school kids are just not that patient, and most coaches don't work on that type of game in practice. You can't do it 2 or 3 practices before you play them and think it's going to work.
Can I call a timeout before you?
No, you can't call a timeout.
Yes, because we have a special guest with us. He is the head.
Oh yeah, we got a special guest.
Yeah,
yes,
because you keep babbling, we're gonna get our guest on if you keep going for 25 more minutes.
He can wait. He's got what else he got to do today? He can wait. Is.
Robbie Cutchins of the Region 1B champion Franklin Broncos, who knocked off Alta Vista, beat Brunswick in the semis. And by the way, this guy beat Ed Young a couple years ago in the Western Branch Showcase. We say good morning and congrats to Coach with us here. How's it feel to be going to the state playoffs? And more importantly, the morning after a region championship there to celebrate with all the loyal, passionate fans of Franklin High?
Good morning, guys. Appreciate you having me on, Matt. Coach Young, how's everything going?
Well, Matt said, you coached against me a couple of years ago, beat me. That's why I'm out of coaching. I got fired because my principal's exact words was, how the hell does Franklin beat you off? Well, good luck playing him again later, because you won't be representing Anns River no more. So I walked out the door. So,
no, man,
I still love you, my man, because I like the way you do things, and you're one of those high character guys. And those are the type of people that we need in a profession. So I'm glad I see you here. And by the way, Rob, just so we get this straight, I picked you all the way to where you are now. This guy.
I didn't. He's right. He said you were going to beat Brunswick, and I was a little skeptical of it. But before we get into your team now, what you're doing, which is fantastic, fill the audience in on the last few years. You've had some really good players, including Shavon Torrance, who tore it up against Ed. He's playing Division II college ball right now.
Yeah, man, Chavon's doing a great job. Matter of fact, I just got off the phone with him. He FaceTimed me about 30 minutes ago. He was mad because I didn't answer the phone last night when he called, but he's doing good. He's down at Augusta University. He's doing phenomenal for them. He started probably half the games this season. He's playing 15 to 20 minutes a game, but he's doing a great job.
That's tremendous to hear. But this group, you don't have maybe a marquee name of that caliber, but they're clicking at the right time of the year, because the season didn't start off great for you all, but you sort of hit your stride around mid-January, correct?
Yeah, we did, man. And like you said, we've had some talent the last few years, and we didn't really know what our identity was going to be this year. Honestly, we had some seniors, but those seniors hadn't really played. They've been a part of the program, so they've experienced some success, but still not getting that floor time and that experience. We didn't really know where we were going. And setting the schedule up early this year, man, I kind of was kicking myself because I like to play up a little bit. I like to play the bigger schools. We started out with 3A Lakeland. I played 4A Smithfield, 5A Indian River. We played Grassfield twice. And, my assistant coaches were like, we're not cut out for that this year, And I said, I understand, but we're going to set ourselves up for the latter part of the season. Honestly, we had no idea that we were going to be able to win 6 hot to end the season. and kind of hang our hats on defense. And that's what we've done all year. We've flown around. We played really good defense. And the kids have bought in. You know, they don't care who does what each night. All they want to do is be successful and win. And that's what it takes when you're trying to build a great culture.
Awesome. Let's get some of those names, highlight some of the players that have contributed thus far, be it from the guards to the forwards, the wings, the bigs, and who should we watch out for as you get ready to take on Northumberland in the state quarterfinals, correct?
Yeah, man. So, we're led by number 4, Christian Grant. He's kind of our do-it-all guard, if you will. He's been a 2-year starter for me, and he's really kind of grown into his own and taking that leadership role. Big man inside, number 23, Kamari Hicks. He's actually been a 4-year player for me. We got him in there early because of his size. We were trying to develop him, and he got some good minutes as a sophomore. But the last 2 years, he's been a big part of what we've done. So that's led to some of our success. And there, like you said, it's no marquee names. It's no big names across the board that guys are talking about. You know, a lot of times they can't even call their names. They might just mention numbers, but the names are not recognized. You know, they know what we do. They know we hang our hat on defense, and we just get after it. We got 3 guys averaging 10, 11 points a game, but other than that, we just play hard.
That can be the formula for success, Ed. As you know, you get balanced this time of the year, it can take you a long way.
For sure,
Well,
without a doubt.
One of the reasons I picked him without knowing exactly what he had was because of him, that whatever he has, he's going to do something with it. And you made a great statement. If you're not magical on offense, if you don't have that one, a big go-to guy, you really got to build it with the defense, because that's the great equalizer. And then you hope you just be able to outscore him by at least 1 point. But I've known you over the years. I've played you a few times, scrimmaged you a few times. You guys do have some athletes out there that you end up figuring it out after a while who's going to score. So you've got the scoring spaced out. Now, as you took on that tough schedule, Rob, beginning of the year, you're playing up, which I know you always like to do. And then you had some tough losses early. How do you get it through to your kids that, hey, look, this is why we're doing this. This is how we're doing it. Because we always have coaches a great master plan. But then when we try to put it into play, the kids blow it out of the water. And then it's hard to reel kids in. Then you have fan bases saying, y'all, kids in school laughing at them, y'all losing. Parents may be saying, I don't know what your coach is doing. You shouldn't be playing. How do you knock all that stuff out of the way and get those kids to say, look, this is where we got to worry about later on?
You know, Coach, that's a great question. And it's something that we preach on all the time, you know, and we talk about culture. And the biggest thing about culture is understanding that things are a process. You know, nothing's going to happen overnight. But basketball season, if you look at different high school sports from fall to winter to spring, basketball season is the longest season of the high school year. So you just show them that it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's longevity. And then if you deal with trials and tribulations throughout that, it makes it a little tougher. And we did. You know, we lost our point guard for 3 games during that early stretch this year. We were playing those bigger schools, and that really did hurt. You know, but at the same token, it gave some other young guys the opportunity to get some floor time, and one of them was a freshman. You know, I mean, he got thrown in the fire and started against Grassfield, and it was the deer in the headlights, but he was learning. And I tell kids all the time, you know, life's not always going to go the way that you want it, but how you deal with adversity is going to show you a true character. So to answer the question, Ed, you just have to continuously preach that. And if kids buy into that and they understand that and they see that, hey, you know, Cut's not giving up on me, the rest of the coaching staff's not giving up on me, then we're going to stay at it. We're going to stay course. We're going to keep doing what we do. And when we get into district play, we're going to have some success, you know. And it's like Matt said, you know, I probably wouldn't have picked us on the outside looking in when we played Brunswick the 3rd time either. You know, it's because you got 2 teams that have turned into a big rivalry over the years, and it's hard to beat a team 3 times. Extremely hard, especially when you got to go to their place. And I told them before we went over there, I said, I don't care if the score is 10-8. I said, this is going to be a knockdown, drag-out defensive affair, and it turned out to be for sure.
Yeah, it really did. As Franklin's now moving on to the state quarterfinals, they'll take on Northumberland Tuesday. Will that be in your gymnasium on Tuesday, or is it not decided yet?
It's going to be at a neutral site. I'm pushing hard for Southampton right down the road. We got the first approval on that, so I'm just waiting on the second. So we hope to be at Southampton High School on Tuesday.
Sure. Well, we'll tell the folks to check out the Virginia High School League website, vhsl.org. I'm also have it up on virginiapreps.com for folks. Once those official times and dates and locations are announced, they'll be up there on our bracket for you, which you see Lancaster, Alta Vista, George Withrow, Perry McClure will host Chilhowie, and Patrick Henry Glade Spring will host the runner-up of the Region C championship with and Perry McClure. I know you're a student of the game and you watch the Class 1 picture. It feels like, Lancaster the last couple of years with Troy Henderson, who's now at John Marshall, they were the prohibited favorite. They won back-to-back titles. They're a surprise to beat Northumberland here. What do you make of these quarterfinal games where it feels like Class 1's pretty wide open, but a lot of people feeling like the favorites are out west with the big schools like and Patrick Henry. I say big school because Patrick Henry has 2 twin towers in the paint.
Yeah, well, first of all, when I logged on with you guys this morning, you scared me to death because I heard y'all talking about 100, 110 points. And I'm thinking, damn, it takes us 3 games to score that many points. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, the Northern Neck is really, really good. The Northern Neck has produced athletes for years. Lancaster has a heck of a program. And Coach has done a phenomenal job since he's taken over there. And you know me, man, I've been watching film since 6 o'clock this morning. I thought I'd sleep in late as we got back last night, but my mind was racing. So Northumberland and Lancaster both are really good basketball teams. And, they're able to change the pace, up tempo, slow it down. But, the teams out west, like you said, George Wythe was very good last year, knocking on the doorstep, and they got everybody back as well. So I think it can be, it's wide open in one for sure this year.
It is, Ed.
Well, my thing too, Rob, I was going to ask you, had you have a chance to look, let's just stay with your opponent, Northumberland, and maybe some things they present to you, if you can divulge some things that they do.
It's kind of like we were talking about earlier. A lot of times some of your better teams in the state and teams that are ranked throughout the year normally have a marquee name or two in their lineup. Northumberland has one of those guys in London. Number one, he can go. I feel like everything they do offensively goes through him. He can score. He can create his own basket, but he can also get other guys, get them shots as well. So the question becomes at that point in time, do you focus on, one man? Do you try to change the tempo? You try to slow it down? Or do you stick to what you've been doing and been successful with all year? Those are the $1 million questions. But yeah, Northumberland's a dangerous basketball team and very athletic as well.
Yeah, Tyreek Lundy, the young man you speak of, quarterback on the football team, has already scored 1,000+ points as a junior. And they were winning that game at halftime, I saw, Coach. And then third quarter, Lancaster hit him with a big run, as the Red Devils are known to do. And that's the thing, I think, the margin for error, though there are favorites like Wythe and Patrick Henry. You've seen it. You've been a part of this now for a number of years. A team in Class 2 or Class 1, some of the smaller games, you go on this quarter run, it can change the whole complexion of the game by the time you blink.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what I was because one of my assistants was watching the first half last night because they played at 6, and obviously we didn't play until 7:30. And he was telling me that Lancaster was up, whatever it was, 6 or 9 at the half. And Northumberland was up at the half. And I said, they're controlling the tempo. And then when I heard the outcome, I said, man, I can't wait to watch it because I want to see what they did different. But at the end of the day, they didn't change a lot in the second half, but they did hit some big shots. And once they got the momentum on their side, everything just started going right for them. And that's what it tends to do in high school basketball. And, just like last night, I was never comfortable. We got up 10, and then, they hit 2 threes back to back, and I could feel the momentum changing. And kids don't understand that 3 ball's an equalizer. And Lancaster's definitely capable of making those runs and hitting some big shots as they did last night. And that's what was able to clinch the Region A for them.
Talking with Robbie Cutchins, head basketball coach of the Franklin Broncos, who are in action in the state quarterfinals coming up in Class 1 on Tuesday as they take on the Northumberland Indians, who are 15-4. You got Lancaster, Alta Vista with Perry McClure, Chilhowie, Patrick Henry, Glade Spring also in the state tournament. Coach, what year is this for you at the helm of Franklin?
I've been the head coach now for 11 years. This is my 21st year at Franklin. I did JV and head assistant for 10 years, which taught me a lot. I was able to sit back and learn a lot about the game, learn a lot about coaching, learn a lot about how to deal with kids. And so I've been a part of a lot of it. We've been knocking on the door. It's been a long time. The last regional championship we won was 2007. So it's been 18 years. And it's, when you get there, it's just like a guy says, it's when it's hard, man, at any level, and you got to savor the moment because you can get there a lot, but you might not get over the hump. So it was a great feeling for everybody involved last night. It really was.
So let me ask you this as a follow-up here before Ed jumps back in. This might not be your most talented or experienced group, but what separated this team from some others to get the region championship? Because you've had some teams right there.
Yeah, we really have. We've had some teams right there. We've had some extremely talented teams, and we ran into some buzzsaws, just like you mentioned with Troy Henderson a few years ago. He was the reason at the state level, and we kind of laid an egg against Alta Vista that year in the regional championship. But it's like I was telling one of the press guys yesterday, man. This group is the culture is big, but the hard work from 1 through 12 with this group is a different level. Getting everybody on the same page year in and year out is obviously always our objective. But you most of the time you're gonna have a majority of your kids that are working day in and day out. But this group here, man, they've showed up since day one, and even early in the season when we were taking them lumps and they were lacing it up, they were going in the film room, they were taking the floor, and they were just continuously asking, what can we do to get better, man? And that's part of the process. I said, hey, it sounds simple, it sounds elementary, but if you guys come to work this hard every day and you put it in, I promise you sooner or later you're gonna reap the rewards.
Absolutely. As we finish up here with Coach Robbie Cutchins of the Franklin Broncos, who are moving on to the state tournament after winning their first region championship since 2007, Ed.
Well, just in general, listen to Robbie talk, looking at that bracket in 1A. I had the pleasure of coaching at Suffolk High School back when I first came to Virginia 1A. And, of course, now with bigger schools after that. And I always listen to people say, well, I don't think they give 1A, even 2A the respect due them. And I think they get this idea bigger is better. And that is, I always tell them, that is extremely false. Because when I was at Suffolk, we played a lot. Back then it was single A, double A, triple A. We played a lot of double A, a lot of triple A. And we won. And the big win was when we beat Booker T. Washington in their state title year, which caused all kind of ramifications. And I remember because when I got the Norview job the next year, I was told you cannot schedule any 2A or 1A schools without permission. I'm like, I didn't know you all had that rule. Well, we just added it because of you. I said, what? Last year when you were at Suffolk High, you beat Booker T. I said, yeah. Booker T caught a lot of flack. I said, first of all, we were pretty damn good. So understand that. And my point to you, Rob, is I look at that bracket. There's some pretty damn good teams there. And I'm not telling you something you don't know, because you're one of those guys that is, and you just said it earlier, you seek out those bigger opponents, summertime, anywhere where you can, non-district, because you can fit in there. Not only fit in, you can beat those teams. And you take away that idea. And I really think psychological that helps with the kids, because we did that every year, and our kids always look forward to playing bigger teams. Of course, back then in Suffolk, Forest Glen, John F. Kennedy, John Yates were all high schools, and they were all double A's. And we were the single A from the old Pena district that you may remember way back when. And I like to think that still goes on, that, I tell some of the bigger schools this, you don't think they're that good? Schedule them. Of course, then they'll say, well, we're not allowed to play single A. And I always say, because you wouldn't be able to beat some of those single A schools.
Yeah, I think, you're right, man. The mindset of a lot of people, bigger is better in anything and everything you do. And I totally disagree with that. I've seen it in all aspects. I've seen it, from a personal level. I've seen it in business at a professional level. I've seen it at the high school level. And it's like I was telling somebody last night, the greatest thing about sports, obviously in coaching high school basketball, first and foremost, trying to develop young men is what it's all about. A lot of us get lost in the 32 minutes of basketball. This is bigger than basketball for me. But sports is a way to get through it. Sports is a way to get through school. Sports is a way to learn more about life and develop as a young man. However, if you can develop as a young man, we can carry that to the court. You can have success. And building that culture is what I've tried to do for a while now. And the kids buy into that. So then, like you say, when you go to those bigger schools, yes, you may play some that are 2 to 3 times more talented than you. And you may be in the basketball game. On the flip side, you may get drugged, but what can we learn from it? And that's the mindset, as Matt was saying. How do you try to, how do you keep your kids mentally, in tune to what's going on when you have games like that? It's difficult, but that's the beauty of sports, because sports unifies so much, and then when you have success, like we experienced last night, the kids, the city, the fan base, it brings people together. That's the beauty of sports as a whole. And whether you're at the 1A level or the 6A level, you're having success. It brings people together, but it also brings joy to a lot of people, and it makes everlasting memories. Before we left the locker room last night, I said, guys, you don't understand this now, but 20 and 30 years from now, you will be talking about this night, because these are things that a lot of kids will never experience, So there's so many things you can take away from it. And that's the beauty of sports, but the beauty of high school basketball. And I love it at the 1A level, man. I really do.
Well, Coach, congratulations on a great season so far. It's not even done yet. You got the state quarterfinals coming up against Northumberland, and we hope to see you March the 14th at VCU. In fact, I spoke with, I told you just in a text last night, Lamar Barrett, former Franklin High standard, is now an NBA scout, coached college ball for many years. He says he's going to bring a reunion of old Franklin greats if you can make it there on March the 14th. So he's hoping to pack the Siegel Center out with a bunch of Broncos fans and alums there.
I love it, man. And that's, it's a step at a time. We've done the district a handful of times, then we've done the region now. We're trying to knock on the door and get to the state level, man. It's going to happen.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. All the best, Jim. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks again for having me, guys. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good day.
Great job, Robbie. See you soon.
That is Rob Cutchins of the Franklin Broncos. Coming up after the break, we got Raleigh Axselle, the Atlee Raiders, Region 4B champs. They knocked off Verina last night. It's all coming your way next after this quick word from the sponsors that make it possible for us to stream 757 Saturday Sports Talk with all of you right here on CoVA Sports TV. Back in just a moment.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and the evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
Yeah, I'm back with the evil basketball coach, but helping to give us good spirit and feel nice is the head basketball coach of the Atlee Raiders. Congratulations on a Region 4B championship. They beat Verina's Blue Devils last night, 66-59. Now 23-1 and humming, and I'm sure Ed's going to take credit for him because, hey, we went and saw him over at Bethel High School back in late December. They haven't lost but one time since. We'll win that one loss on Ed. We say hello and congrats to Coach Raleigh Axselle. Coach, got to feel great for your team to be going on to the state playoffs and making some history there at Atlee High.
It definitely is. It's been a great run. Guys been playing well, and it's pretty cool for Atlee High School to be in the state tournament for the first time ever. So kids are excited, and fans are excited. So it's been great.
Well, and you've got some special young men on your team, some youngsters that you've coached even from the summer travel time. Will Hopkins, a newcomer, your son on the basketball team. You had an older son that played for you previously, but you're going to take on either Hampton or Churchland, a couple of teams from the 757 in the state quarterfinals coming up on Tuesday. Let's do this, though. For those that aren't familiar with your background, tell us about how you got into coaching, all your stops, and what has taken you up to Atlee and what year this is for you.
So I was actually going to VCU as a student, and my former high school coach had an opening at the 9th grade level, and he asked me. I was a sophomore in college. He's like, "You want to coach?" And I was like, "Well, I never really thought about it," but I was like, "Okay." So he got me hooked into coaching, and I finished up at VCU, got my teaching degree, and I was teaching and coaching at Godwin. Was assistant there for about 13 years. Then got the Deep Run job. I was at Deep Run for 2 years as the head varsity coach. Then moved on to Hampton-Sydney for a couple years, and then came back to Richmond, and I was working at Rocket Sports. It's a basketball and baseball training facility, so I was running the basketball part of that. And then applied for the Atlee job, got that, and been here since 2017. 18 was my first season, and been rolling ever since.
Heck of a story, Ed. Heck of a story.
Well, it's interesting when you said you got, by the way, thanks for coming on. And you see what I got to deal with this nut job where, he's calling me evil. And we just had Clyde Spellman, the head coach in Indian River, who used to be an official, did my games. He said, Clyde, I know you teed him up, right? And Clyde said, no, Ed knows the game. He knows what he can get away with. He said he's one of the best guys see. This nut job tries to get me thrown out of everything and makes everybody think that I'm the bad guy.
Good cop, bad cop. Good cop, bad cop. He's making you look bad.
But Riley, I look at and listen to your background on that, and I had the opportunity to see your team to play, and hard nose. Don't make a lot of dumb mistakes. Shoot at the right basket. Your kids really seem to really zone in on what you're saying. Very coachable type kids.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to your coming through this because I actually started coaching my second year of college.
Okay.
At my old school, and they said, "Hey, we need a coach for the junior high." They called them junior high back then.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be interested? I said, "Okay, well, yeah. Who am I assisting? Nobody. You do. Well, how's the team? We don't know. We never had one.
All right.
So I had to do everything.
Right.
And I remember buying T-shirts. Had my at the time was my girlfriend, later became my wife. Dye them yellow so we would put red numbers on because that was their colors.
Okay.
That's how I got my start in coaching, and I loved it ever since.
Right.
But in your background, and you're going through your different myriads of different programs, who were some of the influential people on your philosophy building? Because when I watch your kids play, and I know this is a lot you now, you have their attention. They are focused. They mostly do what you ask. It's not always true in all coaches. Who were some minds that you picked or people that you kind of said, okay, I need to take this and this? Because we steal from everybody.
Right. I think, Mark Steinberg was the head coach at Goblin when I got the 9th grade job. So he was obviously he had a huge impact on me and my coaching philosophy. Now, he was a defense first guy, and I was probably more of an offensive guy. So it was good to work with him. So to see the importance of defense. And then, that was when I was the 9th grade coach. And then later I became assistant to Hunter Thomas, and he was a defensive guy too. So he let me run the offense. So I was kind of the offensive coordinator on the varsity, if you will. So that gave me I learned a lot from him, and he also gave me a lot of freedom to do what I wanted. So I learned a lot there. So those were two of the big mentors personally. Now, I read a lot of Phil Jackson back in the day, a lot of his books, and studied him. And then I'm a Carolina fan. My dad went to Carolina. My wife went to Carolina. So Dean Smith and Roy Williams have always been, from reading books about them, they've kind of been influences on me too.
Good deal. And you mentioned family there, Coach. We have to go there before we get to your team in this upcoming quarterfinal match, and maybe even rehash a little bit of last night's win over Verona, which is a huge win for the program and you and your kids, your staff. You got your couple of sons that have played for you. Tell us about that. One's in college. One's going to, is it CNU next year?
Correct. Yeah. So my older son is at Guilford. So they had a nice upset win versus Virginia Wesleyan on Wednesday. And so they're playing today, actually, as you know, versus Macon. Will not be able to get there, but my wife's on the way up there now. So hopefully they can pull that off. And then my younger son is a senior this year, and he will be going to Christopher Newport next year. And he's really excited about that. So I've been at Atlee for 8 years, and I had a son on the team for 6 of them. So it'll be weird after this year not having one, but I'm glad that they're moving on and, experience somebody else coaching them and let the coaches deal with them.
There you go. Lee Merrick from Ballin VA chimes in. He says, great win last night meeting you as well. And Ed saw that Wesleyan and Guilford game of the night. Ed was there for that one.
Man, I tell you what, and now it just dawns on me, your son's playing on that team. Why did I not notice that name? I was probably mesmerized because I'm gonna give Guilford a million credits. Tommy did a great job. They were throwing it over the head; it would go in.
Yeah.
And Dave on the Wesleyan side couldn't make layups in the layup line. And the harder they tried, the worse they looked. It's the worst. I told Dave later. I saw he was at the high school game the next night recruiting, and he sat right in front of me. I said, I don't know what to tell you. He said, Coach, we were bad. I said, no, it's just one of them games where you probably had them. I know I've had them. Nothing went right, no matter what sub, whatever, and a lot of times it's in us as coaches, we think, okay, we must have did something wrong too. And I asked Dave, and he said, Coach, game plan was good. And they beat Guilford by 20 at Guilford earlier in the year.
Yes, that's what
I
was talking to my son earlier in the week. I'm like, man, they beat you by 19 or 20 the first time. Y'all better be ready to go. And he said they kind of switched up their game plan a little bit, but I think that helped. But I also think, like you said, it was just kind of one of those nights for Virginia Wesleyan. Things weren't going their way, and Guilford had some guys that hadn't been scoring that well, and they got hot against Wesley. Just everything went Guilford's way for sure.
Now, before I know Matt wants to get into your personnel, and that's the big part of the interview is your kids. I got to ask you. You coach two different sons, yeah, and how is that? Because I've never had the pleasure of doing it. I don't have any sons, obviously, but I always wonder.
Wait, they call you Daddy Young. You're not your kids. They call you Daddy Young.
No, that's because I get on them real hard, like a dad, and I've been some places that if I didn't do that, I would have had that Wesleyan experience a lot. Right. How was that? Because you're playing the role of coach, the sergeant at arms, your dad, which plays many roles in there, and then you got to have the wife in the middle. How does all of that work out?
Well, Hunter Thomas, who I coached with the guy when we talked about earlier, he coached his two sons at Godwin, and he told me, he goes, do your best to leave the basketball on the court, and when you get home, don't talk about it unless your son brings it up. So he's like, just let it die, die on the court, leave it there, try not to talk about it at home. And that, we try to do that most of the time, and most of the time that works. I'm probably my younger son, the one here now at Atlee, has benefited from his older brother. So I'm much more patient now than I was with the first one. So I think the younger son has definitely benefited from that, but it definitely can be challenging. And my wife does not always appreciate the way I talk to my sons during the game. So sometimes she lets me know about that too. So it can be an interesting dynamic at times.
Riley, when I say that, I always preface my comments by saying, I'm a big Al McGuire fan from back in the day. I loved Al McGuire as a coach and as an announcer. And somebody asked him one time, Allie, his son, played for him at Marquette. And that's when Marquette, when they won the national title, they had athletes galore. Bo Ellis, all the Jerome Whitehead, they had athletes. And you had little Allie, little white dude out there at the point guard, and he was dishing the ball. But you could tell the backup point guard was an if I'm not mistaken, an All-American, but he was the backup point guard. And they were asking him, I remember on national TV, they said, Coach, you play your son a whole lot, and it seems like the guy behind her better. What's your reason behind that? And he said, simple. I sleep with his mother. And if I don't play the kid, then she told me I don't get to play at home. And I laughed my butt off because it went right over the interviewer's head as to how he was trying to dress up the answer. He said, because I sleep with his mother. I said, man, that was the best.
That was a good answer. Yeah. Well, I told my kids when they were little, and I said, if you guys want to play basketball, and I'm going to be the coach, you better be very good, because you can't be either going to be really good or really bad. So I don't have to play you at all, or you got to be one of the better players, because in between is going to get me a lot of trouble.
Perfect. That's absolutely, you're right. You either be real good, or you might as well hand out the water and the towel, because you can't play mediocre, because the kids can't win with the fans.
Right.
Even though the parents, well, we know why you're playing. Come on now.
I know it can be tough for sure. So, yeah.
Well, in our remaining time we know you got your practice coming up at the top of the hour, so we'll try to keep you get you off before that. We've touched on, obviously, your son Rival, who's at Guilford, Knox, who's playing for you now. Tell us about other key contributors to this year's team, including last night's win over Verona. I know Will Hopkins is a big factor for you, and also have a multi-sport athlete who does some great things on the baseball diamond too.
This is by far, obviously, because we have a good record, but this is the most athletic, the tallest, the most athletic team we've had. So obviously Will coming in like 2 or 3 weeks before the season was huge. When you're getting a Division II basketball player, kid that's got a Division II scholarship coming in, adding him to your team, that was enormous. We had our top 3 scorers coming back from a 16-win team, so we knew we thought we were going to be pretty good. Then you add him. Reed Taylor, who was going to play lacrosse at Navy. He played last year, but he broke his wrist 6 games into the season. So he's like almost like a new guy. So we had him coming back. We had Ryan Miller, who didn't play last year, but he's going to play lacrosse at CNU. We added him. So he's a great defender. He has great vision. And then obviously Noah Yoder, who is going to play baseball at Duke, probably going to be drafted in the MLB here in the next few months. And then we got Matthew Martin, who's going to play football at U of R. So we just got some athletes. And then we really play mostly seniors. We have one sophomore, Connor Wilcox, who was a freshman, obviously a freshman last year, first team all region as a freshman. He'll play college basketball eventually, but we just have I've just been blessed with a lot of talent, a lot of athletic talent, guys that love to compete. So it's been a great season in that part.
Well, you've got some multi-sport athletes there. The chemistry was something that Ed and I noticed right away from watching your team over at Bethel and the Iverson showcase, just how well you play for each other. We gave you the compliment of it's like watching a better version of Kellum, who's always a fundamentally sound, consistently good team down here in the 7-5-7. How big was the buy-in, though, from Will Hopkins? He comes in. I know he played with you guys previously in travel ball in the summer, but for him to sacrifice, he's going to have some big scoring nights, but not always to take a ton of shots. He's buying into your team concept, and you guys are thriving.
Yeah, and I think that's I coached Will his freshman and sophomore year after his freshman in AAU, so I knew who he was and knew what kind of player he was. You're always a little concerned when you got a really good team coming back, and then now you're bringing in Will, who's probably going to be your best player, one of your best players. But the thing about Will is, like, he can score. He's not selfish. He moves the ball. He makes the right plays, and he also plays hard on the defensive end. So it was pretty seamless because of the way he plays. Now, if he came in and he was selfish and didn't play much defense, we'd probably have a lot of troubles. The chemistry wouldn't have been as great. But since he plays the right way, that just allowed this to be a seamless transition for Will to come in.
Talking about Riley Axselle, he's the head basketball coach of the Atlee Raiders. You see it on our screen there. The bracket for Class 4, they're taking on either Churchland or Hampton. Verona will take on the Region 4A champion. That game is tonight at Manor High School in Portsmouth at 7:30. Verona takes on the winner in the state quarters, whereas Atlee will host the runner-up between either Churchland or Hampton. Have they decided, Coach, yet where that game will be played yet for you guys on Tuesday? Are you going to get a chance to host it, or is it a neutral site?
From what I'm told, we're going to play it here at Atlee, so that's good for us.
Okay, good to hear for you. Good chance to have a home court advantage. And have you seen much of either? We can dive into a little bit of, obviously, Verona's a super talented team. Ed got a chance to call their game in our Virginia Preps Classic when they beat Catholic, really good private school down in our neck of the woods. But Hampton and Churchland, have you seen much on them, and how much is the scouting and preparing going on? You obviously have a game plan if you get one outcome, another game plan if you get another outcome, right?
Right. We have not seen either of them yet. You don't want to look forward too much. You just want to say, all right, we got to get to the state tournament. But I'm actually going to make the drive down there tonight and go to Manor and see that game. And so we'll kind of figure out from there, and then maybe get some film from some guys and hopefully have a good scouting report and for Monday's practice.
There you have it, Ed. And Ed's seen both of them, the Truckers and the Crabbers. And that Class 4 field, as we show back on the screen again here, it's mighty good however you slice it. Any of these teams, Hanley's 24-1. Heritage of Leesburg is the only team to beat you guys this season, Coach, right? That was in the Lake Braddock tournament?
Yeah, Lake Braddock Tournament Championship, double overtime buzzer beater. It hurt, but they're a well-coached team, young team too, really. They're mostly sophomores, but they play well. They play well together. They got all the right pieces. So it was a very good matchup for us, and love to come out on the other end, but it was definitely a good game.
Yeah, EC Glass and Tuscarora have both played in state championship games the past 2 years. Tusky losing to Hampton, Glass losing the year before to Verona. Oh, by the way, Churchland had the fewest wins in the field, and they got a guy going to the ACC and Sincere Jones to Virginia Tech. So there is no easy team in this field, Ed.
No, Riley, I was telling Matt, we looked over this earlier. My eyes went towards you and Hanley, probably because of record, but I saw you guys play. But I've seen Churchland, I've seen him. Now, Churchland's been a little iffy here late in the season, but they kind of got it on track right at the right time. Matt's keeping me up to date on Tuscarora and EC Glass and Heritage Leesburg. And again, I've seen Verona. In a down year, you better be worried about Verona.
Yes.
Because they have the athletes, the coach has been there for a while. So I think, unlike some of the other regions, I think this 4A is wide open.
Yeah, I definitely think it is too. Like, again, knowing Heritage and then obviously playing Verona, and you always know Hampton and Churchland are good teams. So yeah, it'll be interesting. And then obviously people, it's funny, at the beginning of the year, we were talking about Division 4, and people mentioned Hanley from the get-go. So people knew they were going to be good. They got some good players. So it'll be interesting how it all plays out. It should be, it should be a fun ride. So hopefully we'll be ready to roll on Tuesday.
Yeah, Will Brondwin for Hanley's one of the most electric scorers in the whole state. And other parts have followed suit for Zach Harrell, Zook's judges. Last one for me, I'll let Ed finish up and let you get to practice here. About their game last night, Verona, very athletic team. You're familiar with them from all your years in the 804. What was the key going in? And certainly that's a team that you could, if things were to break right, you might run into them again in the state championship because they're that good. And you guys hope to get there as well and be playing like you did last night.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, we were supposed to play them, we play them every year. They're in our district. So we were supposed to play them, but then we got snowed out, so we didn't even get a chance to play them this year. And so the last time we played them was in the semifinals last year of the region. And so they jumped on us early last year, and we never really got any footing and really got going. So one of the emphasis last night was like, we have got to get off to a good start. And we did. Knox hit a 3, Will hit a 3, boom, we were off and running. I think that gave the guys confidence. And so, our defense was solid. They didn't overwhelm us to start the game. And so once we kind of settled in and all right, we can play with them. We belong. And so we played well for most of the game. We had some dips, but we stayed consistent, throughout.
3-ball can be the great equalizer in tournament basketball, and as we well know, with the Atlee Raiders sitting at 23-1 before Tuesday's state quarterfinal against the Truckers or the Crabbers.
Well, I can say, you're probably going to see Matt and I over there tonight. We're going to try to see a couple different games today. You're going to get out there and scout, just, again, for the sake of the audience. And I know it's, we know what you're scouting for. But and sweeten it up where when you come out to go scout somebody you're going to play that you haven't seen all year, you're in a state situation where it's do or die. What key, maybe 2-3 key things you look at as a head coach on an opponent that you really haven't seen a whole lot during the year?
All right. We're trying to get the tendencies of the main guys and kind of see what they do. Are they right-handed, left-handed? Are they shooters? Are they drivers? Are they going to post up? What do they do individually first? And then defensively, what's their staple? Are they man-to-man? Are they full court? Are they zoning us? Are they going to zone press us? Kind of figure out what their staple defense is, kind of be able to work against that on Monday in practice. And then offensively, how are they? Are they, they fast breaking? Are they in half court? They're going to run sets. We're going to have to get through screens. Is it conducive for us to play our man, or do we need to play zone? What do we be able to do to neutralize them or slow them down? So those are kind of the 3 main things we do. And, you gotta worry about what they're doing, but you gotta rely on what you've done all year, and hopefully that works and that can carry you on to the next game.
Well, Coach, congratulations on a great season so far. It's not done. Your Region 4B champions made some history at Atlee High School last night. As Lee Mary says, awesome atmosphere there. You're going to be taking on either Churchland or Hampton in the state quarterfinals. All the best in the state tournament. Hopefully Ed and I see you and get a chance to call your state championship game on the NFHS network later on at the Siegel Center in Richmond. And by the way, it always says to his coaching counterparts, win or buy. So if he runs into you tonight at the concession stand in Portsmouth, he's going to try to get you to buy him something because you were the winner last night. So just giving you a heads up. See, okay. I'm just giving you a little fair warning in case he runs into you. You might want to dodge him if you see him.
Why wouldn't he? I haven't won a game all year. He's got won them all except one, and that was a buzzer beater on a poor referee call somewhere during the game. So this guy is magic.
Always the ref's fault we lose. Always the ref's fault. Now, I'm more than happy to buy it. Gotcha. All right. Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All the best. We'll see you later. Take care, Coach.
All right.
Good luck to you, Coach.
Raleigh Axselle, head basketball coach, the Region 4B champion, Atlee Raiders. We'll come back and take another break, and then we'll put the finishing touches on this show that has flown by. We might go a few minutes after 12 noon. That's okay, right, Ed? Your appointment's not till what, 12:17 p.m., something like that? I don't know.
I got too many things to do today. We got to get rolling here.
We will get rolling. We'll go through the brackets in rapid fire fashion for all the folks out there. We thank you all for tuning in. They were talking about holding the ball. Devin Jenkins, you can't hold the ball, just get better. And Ahmad Gibbs says, get Jack Baker to teach. Jack Baker for the Laker job, as our buddy Daryl would say. And by the way, can we put it on the screen? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can as we go to break. Oh, yes, we can. It's going to happen. Watch this, folks. I wasn't there at Norview High School. I had other commitments. But look at this guy with our buddy who always says, he didn't say go on back to Portsmouth. The one and only Daryl. Look at that with Ed Young at Norview High School. Look at this picture. You hanging out with the #1 super fan of the #1 team, the Maury Commodores. And he didn't put the hex on you, did he?
No, he didn't. He actually sat with me for a while during the Nasman game. And I said, Daryl, you're going to root for Nasman. I don't root for no Nasman, but they're not playing Maury. And he said, if they win, they'll play Maury. I said, okay, but you can root for Nasman now. And if they win, you can root for Maury later. 10 seconds later, Nasman missed a layup. That's what you get. And he gave some kind of a voodoo on them. I said, Daryl, that's Nasman and Mr. Layup, not Woodside. I don't root for nobody but Maury. I said, but they're not. It's hard to talk to Daryl. But he sat there a good while. He asked me some questions. He wanted to know dates on there. He said, where's Matt Hatfield? He should be together. I said, well, he's at the beach. He thought you were actually on the beach.
Oh, you're so good. No, I'm in Myrtle Beach. I'm in Conway.
Beach the women's game, Old Dominion.
Actually, I'll be in Pensacola Beach. Yeah, you're funny.
Yeah.
You're funny.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, he is absolutely priceless.
You're funny.
Daryl. What's Daryl's last name? Do we know?
Holly. Have a holly jolly Christmas. It's the best time of the year.
He is something else.
We got commercial time, and it means John's Tax Services. Have you gotten your taxes done yet, Ed? Well, listen up if you haven't. We'll be back to finish up the show right here on this first edition of March the 2025th.
I need to get my taxes done. I wonder if anybody out there knows, other than this tax, I got to have somebody that doesn't charge a lot.
Here you go.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. You need John Maynard. PFP, LUTCF, EA, all those initials behind his name mean he's qualified to work on your taxes. He's an ATA, accredited tax advisor. He's an ATP, accredited tax preparer. He's a fellow at NTPI, the National Tax Practice Institute. And if all that weren't enough, he's also been voted the best of Norfolk and the best of Virginia Beach awards. John Maynard has been professionally trained in tax preparation and representation. He brings to the table over 30 years' experience in federal and state returns. He delivers personalized, one-on-one service, and he's a certified electronic filer. The IRS likes electronic filers. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service, 455-6763.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk.
Usually it's Hatfield. That's why I try to tell everybody, get on Hatfield. He is the legal scribe, the talking head that knows all this, puts the whammies on. We do things different on this podcast. That's why we're rated number 3 in the state.
You got Play-Doh? Get out of here! We got people all over the globe watching with us. Sitting in a phone booth with you would be very...
well, no, we got to have your own phone booth. I'm not sitting in no phone booth with you.
It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on CoVA Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe.
Hi, here with Lansing head basketball coach Dwight Robinson. His Eagles are headed back to the state tournament for the 9th time in 24 years, 71-61 over Glen Allen tonight. Coach, got off to a pretty fast start. Tell me about just the intensity your guys came out with and what you liked there in that first half when they made a couple of mini surges, but you held them at bay.
Yeah, I thought we were working the game plan early in the game. We knew personnel. And that was key for us tonight, like to know their personnel, who was on the floor, who was shooters, who weren't the shooters, that kind of thing. I thought we were really locked in at the beginning of the game. And I think as we started to substitute a little bit, some of those things kind of got lost and they made a couple runs, but we were resilient. And we found the right person to go to tonight, which was Xavier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Zay Cleveland with a new career high of 27 points. And you've done this before. You're no newbie at this, so you got some of those guys some rest knowing that there would be some runs throughout the game. Tell me about just his overall growth and maturation. Just now a junior. We've seen him since he started as a freshman, all region level guy, and he really had some unbelievable moments tonight, just flushing at the rim and just scoring over guys, if you will.
Yeah, Xavier's 3-year starter, was our leading scorer as a freshman, second leading scorer last year. Didn't play any I think he only played one of the 3 regional games last year because he got sick. And then this year we're relying on him a lot. Dame was sick all this week and was sick tonight. And so our second leading scorer, who has been our first option other years, was our first option tonight. And we found the mismatches. We kept feeding it to him, and he took advantage of it.
You mentioned about identifying the shooters for them. The other day, they hit 11 threes tonight. You were really crisp offensively, so it felt like they couldn't make that run to feel like they were in the game. Just what did you see from the ball movement? In addition to Zay, it felt like you guys played fast and loose and shared the rock throughout the game, whether it was Dame, Alonzo Martinez, whoever had the ball making the plays.
Yeah, and that's the key. Like they're taking a lot of threes out there, and we knew they were. So it was about getting that first miss and then push the ball and get in transition. And we didn't think that they would be able to run with us for 32 minutes, and that kind of was the story. They couldn't run with us for 32 minutes, and I think we just had some better matchups. Them trying to guard us was a difficult task for them. And so, at the end, we kind of tried to save our legs and went to a little zone. I think that messed them up for a little minute there, but, it's just part of the game, and just glad we won.
They had one of the better juniors in Class 6 in Ferran Friend, number 3 for them, who had 18 points tonight. But you made him work for those. And all of their losses this year were by 6 points or less. You didn't let it get to that point in this game. Were you pleased that you didn't have that let up, even though you have a lot of youth on the floor, a couple of freshmen that are noted, that you guys didn't relax, if you will, in a big spot like this?
Yeah, well, we had to know where he was at all times, whether we were in the zone or just man-to-man. A few times we didn't play it correctly, and, there was some scramble for some loose balls, and they kicked it out. He knocks them down. But, they can shoot the ball. And so they're going to make shots. But our thing was limit them to one shot, get in transition, punish them in the paint, and just play defense like we normally do.
Lastly, you're 20-2 with this group. Only a couple of close losses to John Marshall and Greenville. You're going back to the state tournament again, which is always the goal at Lansdowne. You get to see Oscar Smith at the region championship again. You're familiar with him. Tell me about that matchup and going back to the state tournament, where I know this team's got big goals ahead.
Well, I think LeVar would say the same thing. This is what we expect, is for it to be Oscar Smith and Lansdowne in our region most of the time. But we're probably, LeVar and I are probably more happy that we're advancing to the state tournament. And so, anything can happen now. So winning this one, winning this one tonight was the big one. Saturday is just a show. And whatever happens, you still move on. And so, I'm sure they're going to give everything they got. We're going to give everything we got. Whatever happens, happens. And we'll get to Tuesday and be ready to roll.
We look forward to seeing you end the show, and congrats on punching your ticket to the States again.
All right, thanks.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we're back here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on CoVA Sports TV. Ready for the show later today. Oscar Smith hosting Lansdowne in the Region 6A title game. And let's go through these brackets here and make some picks, some bold declarations. Let's make some people mad and angry that we're going to pick against them. If I heard you right the other day, I think you had said that you had changed your mind. You were going to go with Oscar Smith, and now you're going with Lansdowne. I don't want to speak for you. I did take the Tigers on our VIP board on Virginia Preps, but I would never be shocked if Dwight Robinson and his Eagles won, even with 2 freshmen that play prominent roles in Damian Robinson and Rashad Shaw. And I think we have to get over them being freshmen thing, because they're mighty good, and Xavier Cleveland has come on as of late. But I also wouldn't be surprised if these two teams ran into each other again in the state finals. This should be a heck of a battle. The one thing that would surprise me is if either team blew out the other. I don't think this game will be a lopsided affair.
No, I don't see a lot. I'm looking at 5-point game max. I'm flip-flopping all along. Now you're telling now, is Dame healthy, not sick, somewhat sick?
I mean, I would think he's going to be ready to go for this game. I mean, I think probably got enough noodle soup in him. That matters. That matters a great deal. That can determine a lot of things. Yes,
because one thing Smith's going to do is they're going to wear you out, and they're going to. And Lansdowne doesn't play a whole lot of players, but
he did a good job of subbing in that Glen Allen game, which you talked about, and that could keep them fresh. Yes. And Oscar Smith has had some. They've had to have some comebacks this year, so they, depending on who gets up early, there could be a comeback in this game. This could be just a fascinating battle as we go down to 6B. You saw the region championship result from last night. Patriot beat Colonial Forge. Hats off to Sherman Rivers, who once put up William and Mary. That team continues to hum. Potomac got knocked out early in the overtime, lost to Gainesville. That was sort of the surprise of that region, right?
Yeah, I'd had Patriot over Colonial Forge in that.
You had Forest Park. Don't lie to the public. I had Forest Park.
I had Forest Park beating Colonial Forge. I had Patriot beating Colonial Forge.
Agreed. That's what I had as well. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have. I'm not saying Forest Park all the way through. When it starts out, you might say that, but now you got to go round.
No, you did have Patriot. You're right. You like me had Forest Park over Forge. I got what you're saying. I got you.
Okay.
Region
and who's the next one?
Yeah, Occoquan Reed. What's that?
Okay, then this is the one I wanted to see here. I would have had in this game. I'm a big Doug Craig fan. I've seen him play. I like him. So I would have went with them in a close one over Hatfield, and basically it was whoever plays Woodson. You can't make a lot of mistakes because they're not going to.
And you love Kalen Chilton. Is he your favorite point guard in the state right now?
That point guard kid. Geez,
I mean, I know you like Cash Jackson at Green Run and Adrian Newton at Morey, but Chilton's a sophomore, and I know you're a huge fan.
And I thought he was a senior. That's how well he played. I thought he was a senior. By the way, Newton at Morey the other day controlled that game against Kingsford. By far the best player on the floor.
Okay, we'll get to the brackets in a second for the states, but South Lakes beats Westfield, not Field. We'll have to make that spelling correction later on. It doesn't matter at this particular moment.
Yeah, we're not going to worry about them until state tournament. South Lake's defending champion. They got the Scott. They got a
do they have enough around Jordan Scott? Now, you saw Merrick Realstone play really well against Moore in our Virginia Preps Classic. Also got some other contributions in that game like Toshi Elston. Do you trust enough of their role guys around Scott? And he is the most accomplished player, dare we say talented player in that bracket. Westfield has beaten them twice before, though, and it sets up a rematch of, which we'll get to in a minute, South Lakes and Hayfield. Hayfield beat them earlier this season, so there's some compelling storylines as we move it into Class 5 here. But Class 6, I think you can make a case for go ahead.
You can make a case for a lot of those teams. We already said that numerous times today. But South Lakes, I think going in would have to be considered a favorite because they are defending. And
I disagree. But go ahead.
And he's not their only player. They're not a one-man team.
I am.
And I told you at your tournament, I was more impressed with the other guy,
Realstone, yeah,
right, than I was with Jordan. And Jordan ended up having great numbers, but I was more impressed with the other guy. Key for South Lakes is they're going to have that steady guard play.
That's why I don't know that their guard play is quite good enough. And if they have an off shooting like they did against Westfield last week, 3 for 23, I think the winner of Smith Lansdowne's the favorite. But right now, the team that might be playing the most solid, just solid together, they're not spectacular, is Woodson. Woodson's playing so well together.
Yes.
Let's go to Class 5 here. We've seen the brackets already. Green Run, Indian River. You got Woodside, Morey. You got Albemarle over Bird. You got Riverside over Riverbend. We'll get to the Class 5 championship in a moment. Let's go to Class 4. We haven't spent a lot of time on Class 4 today. Churchland, Hampton today. Are you going Crabbers or Truckers? I'm leaning with the Crabbers, even though Sincere could take over the game late.
I'm going with Hampton. With Hampton.
I agree with you. We just spoke with Raleigh Axselle. Atlee beat Verona 66-59. Hats off to them. 4C, Tuscarora beat Heritage of Leesburg, who was able to knock off Atlee earlier this year. And they've won some close games, beat Broad Run in the region semifinals to get there. Hanley beats EC Glass in a barn burner. Hanley, I know you haven't seen them live. I like Hanley a lot. They've been my pick pretty much, I would say. I mean, we had Hampton number 1 to start the year because they were defending champ. But I think Hanley's going to win that bracket, which we'll get to. But EC Glass has been in some close ball games. They beat Danville by 2. They lose by 4. And they've been pretty well prepped with the Seminole District. I think their balance is going to help them out a long ways in Class 4. Anything surprise you, though, in the regionals on the 4A or the Class 4 boys side?
No, I'm looking at that first round. I thought maybe Danville would knock off Glass. That was the only one I'm looking at that I would have messed up because I would have picked Danville to beat Glass.
Okay, Class 3. How about we haven't given New Kent and the Class 3 schools a lot of love and attention today. Hopewell beats New Kent 73-65. They were down early against Lake Taylor. Heck of a year for Derek Yogi Edwards and the Titans. They graduated those 2 twin towers in Mello Baines and Elijah Moss Washington. Baines now at Norfolk State. Moss Washington playing at Syracuse football, that is in the ACC. Yet they ended up getting to the region semis again, won 19 games. They lose to Hopewell, just had a little bit more in the tank in the second half. And I'll be honest with you. I thought Heritage was going to beat New Kent. New Kent, though, what a year they've had. We've had Coach Ross on the show. They've got shooters all over the floor. They space it out. They didn't beat Hopewell. But to be 24-2 and still humming this time of the year, they've been really the surprise story in Class 3 basketball the whole way as we go down to B. Meridian still undefeated now, Ed, at 26-0. They had a tough one with Skyline, who they went to overtime with before the regular season concluded, and they get through. Western Albemarle slips by Liberty Christian. Then they get beat by Spotswood in the championship. I know you got some love for Chad Edwards at Spotswood, who's now running the Coaches Association for basketball. He's got two really good guards, and Cam Pacheco was going to Mount St. Mary's, and Tyler Sprague, each of whom scored 26 in their region semi-win over Stanton. And in 3D, the championship is tonight with Northside, Billy Pope's Vikings against Carroll County. They're in states for the first time in an awful, awful long time. In fact, first time for Carroll County to make states in 12 years. Northside, they're used to it under Coach Pope, led by Cy Hardy and Mikel Harvey. I still think they're the favorite in Class 3, don't you?
I agree. I think they're almost as guaranteed in my book as John Marshall in 2.
Well, we'll get to the bracket so you can look at that, and then we'll get to the girls. We haven't given anything on the girls in a second, too. Class 2, it's John Marshall. They beat Greensville. Bruton did fall to Greensville by 13, a slight surprise to me. I had the Panthers as the one losing to John Marshall in that region final. In Class 2, Region B tonight at Central Woodstock and Luray at Shenandoah. I'm going with Woodstock, who can score it. They had a career high or season high from one of their subs in the win over Riverheads. They scored 99 points. One of those subs had 20+, and I think they'll just score too much for Luray. Although Luray won the region last year, and they scored 91 in the semi. So if they both play to their maximum in terms of offensive potential, that could be an absolute battle over there in Region 2B. 2C last night, Floyd County. Congrats to Brian Harmon as Buffaloes win in overtime over Nelson County, who was able to eke by Gretna. Dan River, led by Jameer Reynolds, his 22 points per game, lost to Floyd in the semis. And then the Region 2D championship, Virginia High and Graham wins it. But how about those games in 2D to semis? An overtime game and another overtime game. Both, one was a buzzer beater, one was down to the wire. And Gate City beat Lebanon on a buzzer beater as well. So they had some drama in 2D.
Yeah, some decently close games there. I kind of like, as Graham's moving on into that state tournament, I kind of like them maybe as the team that will play Marshall for the proverbial.
We'll look at the bracket here in a second because we're going to finish up with one here. Class 1, as you look at it on the screen, you see right there, it's going to be Lancaster winning the region championship after beating Middlesex and Northampton. 1B, Franklin beat out to Vista. We spoke with Robbie Cutchins earlier. 1C, tonight it is at Northside High School, Perry McLaurin, George Wythe. We've had George Wythe ranked number 1 in the state all season long. And in 1D, it was Patrick Henry Glade Spring beating Chilhowie 68-63. No real shockers as you had 1-2 seeds, 1-3 seeds. Oh, there was one shocker in 1B. How about Cumberland, the 1 seed, going down to an 8 seed in William Campbell? So there was an 8 seed that got through, Ed.
Yeah, I was wondering if we would get somebody this year to be able to do it at 5. They were 5-17, and they won that first round game against number 1. That doesn't happen much.
So there's your Class 6 bracket. We're going to hold your feet to the fire into the girls and close out the show. Give me your state champ pick as I write them down here on March the 1st. You can change it obviously between now and then because we will have brackets officially dissected. So I'll write them down right now. We're going to put not a gun to your head, but a water pistol to your head. Who's your pick in Class 6? Are you going South Lakes? Are you going somebody else?
Oh man, this 6 is. I'm jumping around in my head right now among 4 teams. You know, I'm the homer in me wants the 757, so I've got to go with Smith or Lansdowne.
Then go with one if you want to be a homer. Or you can go with your hometown of PA and take your buddy Doug Craig since you both.
That's what I'm saying. I'm a big Doug Craig fan. Woodson. I've seen him play. I like a lot what they present.
Pick a team. Don't take 20 minutes and say we got to get going because you're taking 20 minutes to pick a team.
Give me Smith.
All right, Ed's going to go Smith today. I'm going to go today C.G. Woodson, but I do reserve the right to change my mind later. Class 5, there it is. I'm going to go first and take Woodside. You probably will agree, but I'm going to caution people. I've had a funny feeling all year long Riverside's going to get to the state finals and win the thing, and I'm not going to count out Greg Maynard at Albemarle. He's one of the winningest coaches in the state, has done a heck of a job with Makai Ragland, got the big boy inside Marjolin Jackson. Don't rule them out, but Woodside just seems to be the team. They got their scare from Nansman. Will they get another scare? We shall see. But I think they get through and do the three-peat. I do.
I'm going to lean towards. I've been saying it all year. I got to stick with Woodside.
Class 4. I'm taking John Hanley and the judges.
I'm going to lean towards our guy Raleigh. I'm going to go Atlee.
Oh, you're going to go Atlee. Rally's going to
Raleigh
one dinner. Rally. He ain't going to take you to Rallies. They don't sponsor the show. They'll take you somewhere.
I ate there one time. We'll never go back again.
Hey, don't do that. They won't sponsor the show now at all because you said that. Their fries are pretty good, though.
Well, if they sponsor, I'll go.
Hopewell, William Monroe, Meridian, New Kent, Spotswood, Carroll County, or Northside. You know, it's funny. Meridian, Jim Smith, awesome job at Meridian. He's one of his key guys is out for the rest of the year, though, with injury. But they're 26-0, and nobody's going to pick them to win a state championship. I think the two favorites are Northside and Hopewell. Northside, the favorite. Hopewell's got the most size and perhaps talent. Northside's got the two winners in Harvey and Hardy with Coach Billy Pope. And Spotswood has been knocking on the door for years. They've been beaten by Northside a number of times. But nobody's going to pick Meridian. They're 26-0. Nobody.
I'm not picking them either. I'm going. I said earlier. I said Northside.
Yeah.
But there's some chances there. I'm not going to say Meridian don't have a shot. Meridian could waltz right through it. But and Hopewell. I've seen Hopewell play. Very good. They're very good. And that's another one. I'm a Northside.
All right. Class 2. Who's going to be runner-up to John Marshall? I'm going to say Floyd County's runner-up to JM.
I go Graham.
He's going to go Graham. So we go JM Floyd, JM Graham. And Class 1, as we go down to that to close out the boys. Then we'll take a quick timeout to the girls in rapid fashion. Lancaster, Alta Vista, Franklin, Northumberland, George Wythe, Perry McClure, Chilhowie, Patrick Henry, Glade Spring. I've got with Patrick Henry as the semifinal. That's like a championship. Sorry to Robbie Cutchins and Lancaster, Alta Vista, all you folks out there. I'm going to go George Wythe to take it. You going to go the same direction, or are you going to go elsewhere?
George Wythe. Man, I hope Franklin can do it, but I'm going to go George Wythe.
Okay, so he's pulling for Franklin. So there you have it. That's going to wrap up the boys. We'll come back and do the girls to put the finishing touches on this episode. A quick 1-minute timeout, and we'll be back right here on CoVA Sports TV.
Hi, this is Wayne Williams of Williams Deloach. I'm an experienced personal injury attorney, and I hope you don't need my services because I certainly don't like to see people injured on a daily basis. But in preparation for that unfortunate situation, your insurance coverage is very vital to your case. Give me a call today. I'd be happy to discuss your insurance situation for you and your family. That's the most protection you have, and you want to have that ahead of time.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we're back to close out the program, Ed, as we go through the girls brackets Region 6A Girls Championship tonight. Glen Allen, Manchester. Manchester defending champ, coached by Coach Wright, who obviously played at Old Dominion. We saw them a year ago with Mia Woolfolk. She's moved on, SEC. Rain Wright, his daughter. I think they can make a deep run here, but I got a funny feeling after, by the way, Franklin Harris's Highland Springs team took down Grassfield in the 3-6 matchup in the quarters there. Manchester beats Highland Springs. I think Glen Allen's being slept on, and I think after they took out Dale and Cosby, I think Glen Allen might squeak by him in a region championship. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, I can't tell you wrong because I'm going to go with Glen Allen in a close one over Manchester.
Oh, you are. You agree with me. Osborne Park is my favorite to win the girls. They're the Region 6B champs. See the bracket there. 1, 2, and 3 got to the semifinals. Your Occoquan Region 6C girls. How about Robinson beats West Potomac, who squeaked by South County by 2. The real stunner was Diane Lewis's Edison team not getting through. Thought this might be their year to either make the state championship or win it in Class 6. They fall to Robinson in the semis, 52-46, but a lot of good girls teams in that Class 6 bracket. Class 6D, Langley beats your buddy Fred Priester in Oakton, but don't worry, Priester's gals still moving on to the state tournament as they will be the runner-up in Class 6. Langley, though, the region champs, 54-37, doing it with defense as they held every one of their opponents to below 50 points. Anything move you in that Class 6 bracket before we move to Class 6 in terms of the girls' regionals?
I had, I think if I'm not mistaken, Oakton coming through there, but they're still in it, but it looks like Langley is the power to beat.
All right, Princess Anne takes on Kellum today. I think we're all agreeing that Darnell Dozier will add to the collection in the trophy case. Menchville playing Kings Fork. We know Kings Fork is good. We heard from Maurice Fafana a couple weeks ago. Riley Height, daughter of Rick Height's one of the standouts there, but I think Menchville with Adrian Webb leading the way will get it done. Their offense has been clicking as they're averaging 88 a game in the regionals. Region 5C, William Fleming lost to LC Bird. Slight surprise to me. I thought Fleming, the 1 seed, would win it, but Bird gets through. They got both the girls and the boys in the states. And in Class 5, Region D, Potomac Falls over Light Ridge. I think the question we're all going to be asking, Ed, like we do with Class 2 boys, who's going to play runner-up bridesmaid to Princess Anne, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. And then your next one's definitely, which we'll get to. It's an inside joke for the show. Manor Hampton tonight. You going to pick a winner here?
I'm going, it's a coach's battle.
Yeah, you're going to make either Roger Smith or Shonda Bailey mad at you, but they might be happy if you pick against him. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I hope Shonda doesn't hate me. I'm going to take Manor close.
I'll take Hampton close.
All right, today we split the baby, though no babies got split.
Put dinner on it.
I don't know about all that. Henrico Monacan. How about Henrico winning that? It took out the top seed in Hanover, and there they are. 19-win year for Hanover. It's over, but they don't make states. 4C on the girls' side. Woodgrove's the defending state champs, but they're not region champs because the Heritage of Leesburg took them down. They got their boys and girls programs on through to the state playoffs, but Woodgrove will still be pesky, no doubt about it. And Charlottesville-Salem, I thought Charlottesville would win this. 23-3 are they after they get beat by Salem, who's scoring 60-plus in all of its playoff games, and their offense could pose a threat in Class 4. But Class 4 will be interesting in the girls' side of things. Woodgrove won it last year. I don't see a repeat, but I could make a case for 4 or 5 teams.
Yeah, I thought Woodgrove would be a team that we'd see possibly putting that state title up.
Get to 3, and then we're going to make our picks after 2 and 1. Grafton takes down Hopewell. Remember, last year they lost a heartbreaker at the Horn to Lake Taylor. They get revenge this time with a 2-point win over Sandra Sawyer's Lady Titans. Hopewell falls to Grafton, but both moving on to states. James Monroe, pay attention to them, folks, because they are blasting people. They're now 23-0 and on to the state playoffs after beating Brentsville District, who still moves on as well. Spotswood, Coach Dodson over there. Chris Dodson, 500-plus wins. He's won it before. His girls are perennial power. That Class 3 Region C girls is loaded. Spotswood wins the region. Liberty Christian, the champs last year as a 6 seed, got knocked out in overtime by 3-seeded East Rockingham. There are about 4 or 5 teams in that bracket that could win other regions without any question. And in Class 3 girls, Region D, Lower Botetourt and Stanton River played a championship today. I give the edge to Botetourt close.
I'm going to upset in that region. Give me Staunton River.
Staunton River. I don't know if it's an upset. Class 2 girls, John Marshall beats Prince Edward by 25. Clark County Stewart's draft today at Shenandoah University. Luray, the 6 seed, took out the 3 seed in Strasburg. Liberty Bedford, how about them scoring 70-plus in all of its games? They beat James River in a championship there. And in Class 2 Region D girls, you can't go against the 7-time state champ, 700-plus wins, Robin Dotson. He's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the best. Central Wise with Emma McCammon leading the way, 2,000-plus points. When you got a 2,000-point score and a Hall of Fame coach, that's my pick.
Yeah, I'm not going against him. Yeah, you got to say it's a Pearl's the Princess Anne program.
Very much so in Class 2. That's a great analogy for you. Girls today, Westmoreland, Colonial Beach. That's a coin flip. Give me Westmoreland, I think, close. Buffalo Gap beats Brunswick. Looking good as Buffalo Gap. George Wythe and Fort Chiz on the girls' side of things. George Wythe trying to do what the boys are doing. They could win in both sports potentially. They might have the best chance of our schools we've talked about with both in, like your Heritage Leesburg, your LC Bird. George Wythe might have the best opportunity. Honaker, though, I'm looking at them hard. 27-1. They beat J.I. Burton in the Region D final. So let's get to our state picks here, Ed. Class 6 girls. There's your teams. The 8 are set. A couple of seeds still to be determined with Glen Allen and Manchester. For Class 6 girls, I'm going to go with Osborne Park to get it done. They've been knocking on the door. It's finally their time.
I'm going to lean towards Oakton.
Really? As a 2 seed, Fred Priester to get through.
I'm going with Fred.
All right. Class 5 girls, PA.
Yes.
Who's the runner-up, though, to PA? I'm going to say the runner-up is going to be, you know what? Chevette Waller does a great job at Bird. We saw him 2 years ago get there. I think Bird's found something. I'm going to say it's Bird versus PA.
I'm going to go Fleming.
You're going to go Fleming. Okay. You're going with 2 runner-ups here. How about that to get to championships? Class 4 on the girls' side, you know, this is a weird thing to say. I actually think it's almost better to be the runner-up from Region A, Hampton or Manor, because you avoid Woodgrove and Salem, and you don't have to play Monacan in the first game. I think the Heritage, Leesburg, Charlottesville, Henrico bracket might be easier. You know what? I'm going to pick Hampton despite having them lose today. I think they win the state championship. Give me Hampton.
Give me Hampton.
All right. He agrees with me. He's going with 2 runner-ups here, Hampton and Oakton girls. Gee, what a shock. Class 3 girls, undefeated James Monroe is mighty, mighty good, but I'm going to go Spotswood over Monroe in the final.
I'm gonna stick with Monroe.
You're going to say undefeated wire to wire. That would be your only undefeated team, right? Boys or girls? Well, we got PA as well. PA girls. And in Class 2 girls, Central Wise, I'm going with Robin Dotson, the Hall of Famer.
Experience where you comes out on this one.
You going Wise as well?
Yes.
It would be wise of you. And in Class 1 girls, not as well versed, but I'm going to say give me Honaker over Buffalo Gap.
I'm going to concur.
You're going to concur. All right. That closes out the show. We went through the brackets. We'll see how many Ed got wrong and how many I got right, because that's all that matters, how many he gets wrong and how many I get right. And we'll do it again next week with you on the March 8th episode. I have no idea what time it'll be, Ed, because as you see our Sunbelt women's basketball bracket, Old Dominion, squint there and zoom in. It's going to be hard to squint and see. Play on March the 7th at 11:30 a.m. And if we make it to the quarterfinals, it'll be next Saturday at 12:30. So I will not be joining you at 11 or 12. Might not even be 10 o'clock. It could be a crack of dawn 7 a.m. show, or we might have to tape the show, depending on what transpires next week with the ladies of Old Dominion.
So Old Dominion women's first game is not until the 7th.
March the 7th at 11:30 a.m. The ODU men play at 7:30 in the second round, and that second round game is on March the 5th. So that's going to be coming up on Wednesday against the winner of ULM Louisiana. So there you have it. Those are the brackets for the Sun Belt.
And the women are playing who?
We play the winner of whoever comes out of the upper portion, which has Georgia Southern playing Southern Miss in the first round. ULM gets the winner of that. Georgia State gets the winner of that. So if you took the higher seeds, it would be Georgia State for the rubber match. We beat them on the road. They beat us at home. And then if we got through that, we'd see the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina, who we just beat on the road. They beat us at home. So it could be a couple of rubber matches. And eventually, Ed Young's going to put me in a rubber room.
Where you belong.
That's going to do it for this episode. We got hoops later on today. Have a good one, folks, and we'll see you next time right here on 757 Saturday Sports.